I travel from one world to another doing wholesale sales, and you call this the end of the world? This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 276, Hold on. Hold on, hold on. Hold on for me. The north gate of Huden, as the main gate, is naturally the enemy's main target. Today, the team responsible for guarding the gate is the Special Warfare Team 3. The captain, Hujia, is a big man with a beard. Looking at the surging mutant beasts and leather-armored barbarians, he was so anxious that he jumped up and down. Close-in defense guns, rocket launchers, high-explosive grenades and even small laser launchers were used, but the effect was minimal. The main reason is that there are more than a dozen strong men here, each holding an oversized alloy shield that is 10 centimeters thick. The workmanship is rough and there is no aesthetic feeling. But it can't stand its thickness. A dozen people surrounded an alloy wall, and with a top cover, it was like an iron turtle. The large caliber bullets of the close-in defense guns hid it, but only knocked out a concave crater. The alloy bullets were smashed into pieces, but they couldn't penetrate such a thick alloy steel plate. Although the huge impact force caused the enemy's speed to drop sharply, it couldn't stop their steps, and they were advancing little by little. Although rocket launchers are powerful, they can only knock down the enemy at most, and they will stand up soon, or new strongmen will join. Lasers can only burn a small hole of a few centimeters. If you want to penetrate it, you must focus on one point and attack continuously. But will the enemy stand and take the beating? Definitely not. Captain Who, can't penetrate? What should I do? A team member shouted with a frustrated look. The enemy clearly wants to rush to the city gate and blow it open. Once the gate is blown open, the ferocious mutant beasts will definitely rush in at the first time. At that time, the consequences will be disastrous. Go, drive the bulldozer over there to me. Hujia's eyes swept across several bulldozers parked not far outside the city wall, and he immediately shouted loudly. Yes, Captain. When several Special Forces members heard it, they immediately understood. Although Hujia looks rough, he is a careful person. He soon thought of a countermeasure. Although the metal shield has great defensive power, it is also incredibly heavy. Even the evolvers with strength attributes find it very difficult. This can be seen from the speed at which they move. In addition, it cannot attack, so it is just a live target. Hujia does not believe that he cannot knock over this iron turtle. Fire cover. Several Special Forces members began to use rope descent to descend outside the city. The mutant beasts that were watching closely immediately swarmed over. Hujia immediately ordered people to fire wildly. He himself ran to a close defense gun, turned off the automatic mode, and switched to manual mode. Then, he turned the muzzle and fired at this side. The mutant beasts that had just surrounded them were immediately beaten to pieces. A bloody path was cleared for the descending Special Forces members. Stop them. The enemy seemed to have realized Hujia's intention and quickly sent people to obstruct them. The Special Forces on the top of the city wall could not let them do what they wanted. They fired wildly at these enemies and even gave up attacking the iron turtle. They concentrated their firepower to cover their companions. Without the protection of the super thick alloy shield, the enemy did not dare to directly resist the heavy firepower with their bodies, and was immediately suppressed to the side. The Special Forces who successfully landed outside the city wall ran to the bulldozers. Boom boom boom. The 4 bulldozers were started instantly, and the roar of the engines resounded through the sky. Without a moment's hesitation, the bulldozers rushed over at the maximum speed. The strong power injected by hydrogen fuel knocked away the mutant beasts blocking the road. Some mutant beasts wanted to jump onto the seat and attack the driver, but they were all named by the snipers on the top of the city wall. They were either shot in the head or fell down after being crippled, and then were rolled under the wheels, bursting out a puff of blood mist. The battle was dangerous, but it also reflected that the Phaeton guards were well trained and did not lose their composure in a sudden attack. Bang! Bang! 4 bulldozers hit the iron turtle one after another, knocking it sideways for more than 10 meters. But the iron turtle was really strong and managed to hold on. Boom! 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 The 4 bulldozers increased their output power crazily, and the engines were smoking, but they still refused to let go. The iron turtle was also fighting desperately, but it was always inferior and was pushed back little by the 4 bulldozers. seeing the iron turtle being pushed away little by little. Boom! Suddenly, it exploded from the inside. The huge air wave not only blew away the metal shield, but also the bulldozers, which were blown beyond recognition. A huge deep pit was also blown out on the ground. Asshole, Hujia and others were furious. 4 comrades were gone just like that. Although the other side had more casualties, there was no comparison at all. Hujia would rather die himself. Beat me hard, Hujia almost cried and roared. For a moment, the firepower on the top of the north gate wall poured down like a flood. Even the mutant beasts with thick skin and flesh could not withstand it and were beaten back step by step. In order to facilitate travel, the Phaeton base has designed a total of 4 gates, located in the 4 directions of southeast, northwest and northeast. Now, the worst situation is the west gate. That is where 2 close-in defense guns were smashed at the beginning. The huge rocks like a hill fell from the sky. Even the power of the close-in defense guns could not blow them up in the air. The close-in defense guns were directly crushed, and half of the city wall was smashed down. Countless guards were affected. Seeing that the enemy's army was about to rush into the defense line and enter the base. At this time, Wang Bowen arrived in time with his men. Firepower, seize the high ground to suppress the firepower. Sniper, snipe the speed-type enemies. Be sure to stabilize the defense line for me, Wang Bowen shouted loudly and quickly joined the battle. Now he is a 5-star evolver, with a rare skill called Flash. Although the range is not far, it is the enemy's nightmare in battle. Just imagine, how can you fight if someone flashes from in front of you to behind you? Just thinking about it makes my back cold. In addition, the mechanical arm customized for Wang Bowen by the Ministry of Science and Technology is not only extremely powerful, but also can be transformed into weapons. Small super energy particle cannon, high-frequency ion-cutting dagger, and the recently upgraded chainsaw sword. All of them are powerful equipment. Therefore, Wang Bowen killed everyone as soon as he arrived. He killed the head of a sawtooth beast with 1 shot. Then he flashed to the side of a mutant wolf and sawed off its head with a chainsaw sword. He flashed again and got behind an enemy who wanted to sneak attack him, and cut it in half alive with a high-frequency ion-cutting dagger. In a few breaths, he killed several enemies. He took back the defense line that was about to be lost. With the addition of super soldiers wearing HT-1 power armor, the defense line of Zeman became impregnable again. The heavy armor and powerful power instantly formed a steel wall, completely blocking the hole created by the boulder. Chapter 277 King Kong. Chirp. Instructor Wang, be careful. The defense line had just stabilized when another huge rock fell from the sky, but this time it was heading for Wang Bowen. The soldiers behind him were terrified and hurriedly warned him loudly. Humph! Wang Bowen did not retreat but advanced, and rushed towards the huge rock with a big jump. He flashed in the air and appeared at the bottom of the huge rock. The mechanical arm changed to super energy particle cannon mode, stuck to the rock, and fired a shot. Open it for me, boom. After a loud bang, the huge rock was immediately broken into pieces. Although there were still large pieces, they were not enough to pose a threat and were soon smashed to pieces by the guards. After Wang Bowen descended to a suitable position, he flashed back to the ground. Haha, you are worthy of being the chief instructor of Phaeton. At this time, a playful voice came from a distance. At first, it was still far away, but when the word official was mentioned, a huge figure appeared in everyone's sight. And it was still getting bigger. Everyone took a closer look and found that it was a mutant gorilla, standing up to a height of 10 meters, and it came to the front in a few strides. Of course, it was not this mutant gorilla that was speaking human language. On its broad shoulders, there stood a bald black-skinned man with a naked upper body and a short animal skin skirt. A closer look revealed that he was not a black-skinned person, but had dyed his skin black with some kind of pigment, making him look like a little gorilla. This man was the first Fierce General under the Black Fox, the ape envoy. The mutant black chimpanzee under his feet was called King Kong, an SSS-level mutant beast with very strong strength. Those boulders were made by it. Roar! King Kong roared at Wang Bowen and the guards, beating his chest, and his violent eyes were full of murderous aura. Who are you? Why did you attack our Phaeton base? Wang Bowen's face became solemn. The pressure from the Black King Kong was a bit too much. The mutant beast's unique physical fitness was not comparable to that of humans. Ha! Listen carefully, I am Hao Wuji, the General under Lord Black Fox of the Demon Realm, but I like to be called Chimpanzee, the black-skinned, bald, leather-skirted man introduced himself with a proud look on his face. Demon Realm? Black Fox, Wang Bowen was shocked when he heard it. Is this revenge? Thinking of the mysterious hypnotic gas of Black Fox, Wang Bowen was afraid. Fortunately, after the last incident, Su Wei got a lot of gas masks, and each soldier had one, which should be able to resist the attack of hypnotic gas. I know. Then go to hell, King Kong, hammer him, Hauji said and stomped his foot. The violent chimpanzee immediately roared and rushed up, and his huge fist suddenly smashed towards Wang Bowen in the front row. Bang! The huge fist smashed a deep pit in the ground. But there was no shadow of Wang Bowen. At the last moment, he had flashed to the side. The soldiers on both sides stopped attacking tacitly and watched the two commanders fight. You dodged quickly, let's see how many times you can dodge. Hauji stomped his feet again, and the Black King Kong immediately raised his fists and pounded on the ground like raindrops. I dodge, I dodge, I dodge, I dodge again. Wang Bowen immediately flashed in succession, shuttling back and forth between the two giant fists. The thrilling scene made everyone's heart jump to their throats. The power of the SSS-level mutant beast is not to be underestimated. If you are not careful, you will be hammered into a pool of mud. It's handsome, but it's a bit physically demanding. After a round of attacks, Wang Bowen's face has turned pale, and he can't help but breathe slightly. This is because he has activated skills continuously, resulting in physical exhaustion. After all, he is an agile assassin, and naturally cannot fight against a power-type warrior. Whoosh! The Black King Kong on the opposite side was also a little out of breath, but it was not tired, but angry. Seeing Wang Bowen jumping around like a flea, but being unable to do anything to him, King Kong became extremely anxious. 2 white breaths came out of his 2 thick nostrils, showing his inner anger. It's impolite not to return the favor. After a few breaths, Wang Bowen immediately rushed towards King Kong, and took advantage of the gap between its angry roars to flash under it. You're courting death, Hauji said coldly, and then let out a strange roar. King Kong immediately became jubilant, stomping his feet and slapping the ground with his hands. Instructor, the Phaeton guards couldn't help but worry about Wang Bowen. With such intensive attacks, even gods can hardly guarantee that they can dodge every time, right? King Kong's attack lasted for a full 3 minutes. He stepped down a large area of land under and around him more than a meter deep. This time he's dead, right? Hauji commanded King Kong to step out of the pit and look back for Wang Bowen's body. But there was not even a trace of blood in the pit. Could it be? Not good. Hauji immediately became alert. At the same time, a chill came from behind him. Without thinking too much, he immediately jumped down. But there was still a piercing pain in his back. While falling, he tried to look back and saw that Wang Bowen had touched his back at some point, and the end of the mechanical arm turned into a dagger with blue iron flames. Just now, if it was 1 or 2 seconds at night, he would definitely be stabbed to death. Ah! The angry Hauji shouted. King Kong immediately reached out and caught him, and at the same time, he slapped his shoulder with his other hand. Bang! Oh ho ho! He slapped himself, and King Kong grimaced in pain. Of course, Wang Bowen was not hit. He flashed several times in succession and retreated to the west gate wall. After the continuous losses, he needed to slow down and take a breath. It turned out that when King Kong was stomping on him, Wang Bowen flashed directly onto one of its legs, grabbed the leg hair tightly, and fixed himself on it. In this way, no matter how King Kong moved, he could not attack him. After the attack stopped, he immediately flashed behind Hauji. Unfortunately, Hauji still dodged the fatal blow. Roar! Instructor Wang is mighty! The guards immediately cheered loudly, and their morale was boosted. Damn it, I will trample you all into meat paste. Come on! Hauji was furious. He was careless for a moment and was injured by the opponent. Although it was only a superficial injury, it was related to the dignity of a man, and he had to get back the place. Otherwise, how could he be worthy of the favor of Lord Black Fox? A big battle broke out again. The two sides started a fierce offensive and defensive battle. With the addition of King Kong, the demon realm was in high spirits. After a short buffer, the Phaeton guards also recovered to a certain extent. Among them was the new anti-aircraft gun brought by Wang Bowen and his team. After installation, it provided them with powerful firepower. Chapter 278, Letter of Submission. The battle was in full swing. There was an abandoned signal tower about 1 kilometer northwest of the Phaeton base. Several figures were standing on the tower, led by Black Fox himself. "Sister, the situation is not optimistic," a woman in black couldn't help but speak out. She was Black Fox's subordinate, Demon Spider Kinglin. The 4 gates of the Phaeton base were attacked. Only the west gate was in a better situation, but it still did not break through the opponent's defense line. In the initial raid, there was no expected chaos. The Phaeton guards quickly suppressed the newcomers and retreated back to the city in an orderly manner. Although the initial chaos caused some casualties, it was far from what was expected. As more and more super soldiers wearing power armor joined the defense, Black Fox's people seemed to be struggling. "How can they have so many power armors?" Black Fox's face was ashen. Originally, she thought that after the tiger left the mountain, the Phaeton base should be relatively empty. But now it seems that the power of the Phaeton base is far beyond her expectations. Judging from the amount of ammunition consumed, it is far beyond the reach of ordinary large bases. You know, there are hundreds of close defense guns installed on the second ring wall of the Phaeton base, each of which fires thousands of rounds per second. The war has been going on for half an hour, and the ammunition consumed is already incalculable. Where does Phaeton, a population of only a medium-sized base, get such a strong logistics? Even if it is produced day and night, do they not need to eat? After all, bullets cannot be eaten. Black Fox's mind is buzzing with question marks. A medium-sized base is so powerful that it simply subverts her cognition. Little did she know that the last thing the Phaeton base needs to worry about is food. With sufficient food supply, the potential of the wasteland survivors is unlimited. In addition, the mass production of strengthening potions has improved the physical fitness of the Phaeton residents, and the efficiency is naturally great. Perhaps, they really got a national reserve, Demon Spider Kinglin couldn't help but guess. This also explains why Phaeton is so powerful. Humph. So what if it is? Times have changed, and the power of these old weapons has been greatly reduced. Pass the order down, at all costs. Bloodbath the Phaeton, Black Fox said directly. Now the battle situation has reached a stalemate. Either rush up to fight or retreat in disgrace. There is no other way. Yes, Lord Black Fox. The messenger behind him immediately jumped off the tower and rushed towards the battlefield. The tower fell into silence again. However, no one noticed that on a pillar under the tower, a vague shadow moved, then slowly slid down the tower and disappeared in the surrounding messy grass. "Boss, found it," in the ruins where Su Wei and his men were hiding. Su Xiaodong ran back with an excited look on his face. Just now, he found the location of the Black Fox. "Where is it?" Su Wei was also happy. He originally wanted to support, but when he saw that the Phaeton base had been temporarily stabilized, he chose to stay put. Then he sent a large number of scouts to search for the Black Fox headquarters. Unexpectedly, Su Xiaodong really found it. On an abandoned signal tower in the northwest-east direction, it's about 4 or 5 kilometers away from our current location. However, when I left, the Black Fox woman had already ordered a general attack. The pressure on the base will probably be very great. Su Xiaodong marked the location on the map projected by the bracelet and shared it with Su Wei. "Very good, let's go and take her down in one fell swoop. Also, send someone to notify Lao Lei so that they can take action and bring people to support the East Gate. Tell him to set up Thor for me and blow up these bastards." After receiving the coordinates, Su Wei immediately gave the order. "It's time for a major counterattack." "Yes, boss." After Su Xiaodong stood at attention and saluted, he immediately ran to convey the order. His task is also to escort Fang Yunzi and the Thor caller. "Xiaoling, take a few people to support the North Gate. Xiao Na, you go to support the West Gate." Su Wei continued to arrange. "As for the South Gate, there are the least enemies, so don't worry about it for the time being. As long as Black Fox and her headquarters are killed, Phaeton will win the war. The enemy will fall without a fight." "Yes, boss," the two women answered in unison, and Yuna's eyes sparkled with excitement. "Su Wei, what about me?" Ma Xiaoyu, who was ignored by the side, could not help but jump out. "Don't panic, you are indispensable. Come on, follow me to do something important," Su Wei said, summoning the remaining dozens of super soldiers. "What is it?" Ma Xiaoyu hurriedly chased after him. "The name of the surrender," Su Wei said without turning his head. 3. Ma Xiaoyu couldn't help but draw a circle in her heart and curse Su Wei. The name of the surrender. To put it bluntly, isn't it asking her to kill Black Fox to show her loyalty? Humph, this guy looks harmless, but he is actually a bad guy. But I like him. After a brief daze, Ma Xiao's face bloomed with a blooming smile. Following Su Wei's footsteps, he chased after him. Soon, Su Wei led everyone to the abandoned signal tower quietly, and saw Black Fox and several of his men on it, watching the battlefield. "Sister, what is that?" At this moment, Black Fox's trusted demon Spider Kinglin suddenly pointed to the battlefield in the east and shouted in surprise. Black Fox and others cast their eyes over. They saw a large group of soldiers wearing power armor, carrying a giant truck, rushing to the battlefield. Needless to say, it was Li Yunli who came with Thor. But what was shocking was that the Thor on the giant truck was already turned on and completed the charging mode. A group of super soldiers directly carried the Thor in a ready-to-fire state into the field. Damn, what a genius. Charging while moving not only saves time, but also improves flexibility. When you get to the place, just put it on the ground and aim to fire. Convenient and fast. Oh no, Su Wei and the others are back. Black Fox's face suddenly changed when he saw Thor. Boom. Unfortunately, it was too late. Thor had already completed the operation and fired blue-purple plasma at the mutant beasts and enemies gathered outside the east gate. Almost in an instant, the enemies outside the east gate were cleared. Only a few people, who were close to the edge and strong enough, escaped. But they didn't escape, because Li Yunli had already caught up with his special forces and killed them all. At the same time, reinforcements appeared at the north gate and the west gate. Zhang Ling opened the big move directly, and the ice was frozen for thousands of miles. The sky was full of ice blades, and the enemy was beaten to tears. The guards took the opportunity to rush out of the gate and beat the enemy to death. Yuna turned into a flame and rushed into the battlefield. Wherever she passed, the scorched earth was thousands of miles away, burning the enemies and mutant beasts, crying for their parents. Dabei directly attacked King Kong. As an SSS-level mutant beast, he beat it upside down and directly crushed most of the battlefield. Wang Boang, who is under much less pressure, faced Hao Wuji. It remains to be seen whether he can escape his killing this time. Chapter 279. Not bad. It's over. Seeing that the battle situation that was originally in her advantage had fallen into disadvantage in an instant, Black Fox's heart was bleeding. This was all her belongings, and if they were all lost here, wouldn't she become a soft persimmon that could be manipulated by anyone when she returned to the demon realm? Sister, retreat. As long as the Green Mountains remain, there will be no fear of running out of firewood, Demon Spider Kinglin hurriedly advised. If the fight continued, she might not even have underwear left. Retreat. Black Fox gritted her teeth and shouted. At this moment, she wanted to grind Su Wei to ashes. Boom. Unfortunately, before Black Fox and his men could take any action, a rocket launcher hit the abandoned signal tower. The broken tower body broke instantly and collapsed. Want to leave? It's too late. When Black Fox and his men escaped from the explosion, they had fallen into the encirclement prepared by Su Wei. Dozens of super soldiers had surrounded them. Su Wei came up with Ma Xiao. It's you. Su Wei. Black Fox saw who was coming, and immediately saw the enemy with jealous eyes. Although Su Wei and Ma Xiao were wearing gas masks, they were the kind of transparent masks that allowed you to see their faces clearly. Isn't that me, Black Fox? I let you escape last time, but you won't be so lucky this time, Su Wei said with a smirk. By the way, let me introduce you, the eldest princess of the Tyrannosaurus Rex base, Ma Xiao, the one who will send you off later. Don't make a mistake. Su Wei didn't wait for Black Fox to speak and continued. Black Fox was so angry that her face turned green. Did this bastard want to piss her off to death? Not only were they all powered armored soldiers, but they also wore gas masks, which was equivalent to killing her halfway. In the wasteland world, supplies are scarce, and few people use gas masks, let alone powered armor with a life support system. That's why Black Fox is so successful. But now, it's like a tiger without claws and teeth, and it's at a loss. Sister, we'll cover you. Run. Demon Spider Kinglin immediately led people to rush up. The battle was about to start. Without Su Wei's intervention, the super soldiers came forward. Although their level was not as high as that of Black Fox's guards, they were protected by power armor and could fight one with several. After a few rounds, more than half of Black Fox's men were killed, and the other half were directly captured. Even the Demon Spider Kinglin could not escape this fate. During this process, more than a dozen super soldiers, plus Su Wei and Ma Xiao, stared at Black Fox covetously, leaving her no chance to escape. Sui, Mazayaoyu, I am Black Fox, but I am the woman of the demon king of the demon realm. Have you ever thought about the consequences of killing me? Black Fox shouted with a bit of exhaustion. At this moment, she felt the approach of the god of death. Is the demon king of the demon realm very powerful? Can he dance the disgusting dance? Unfortunately, I only know the Bulgarian demon king. Introduce him to me if you have a chance, Sui asked with a curious look on his face. Black Fox and Mazayaoyu were both stunned. What the hell is the Bulgarian demon king? He even dances the disgusting dance. Although I don't know what Sui is talking about, it's definitely not a compliment. Asshole, the demon king knows I'm here. If anything happens to me, you will all be buried with me, Black Fox roared with a ferocious face. Unfortunately, the title of Demon King of Demon Realm can't scare Sui. I don't care if he's a demon king or a ghost king, it's Mazayaoyu who killed you, not me, is that so? Princess, Sui looked at Mazayaoyu with a smile on his face. As he said that, he pulled out an alloy sword from the back of a super soldier and threw it over. Humph, you don't know how to be gentle with women. Mazayaoyu rolled her eyes at Sui and reluctantly took a large alloy sword. This is the starting point of our cooperation, are you going to give up? Sui asked unmoved. Okay, that's what you said, Black Fox, give me your life. When Mazayaoyu heard about cooperation, her eyes lit up and she rushed up with a large alloy sword in both hands. Black Fox was so angry that his teeth itched, but he had no choice but to fight Mazayaoyu. Ping-pong. The two women fought very lively. Sui was watching from the side and recorded the fight between the two leisurely. Well, I have to say that this Princess Mazayaoyu is still very capable and very powerful. In less than 100 moves, she defeated Black Fox and chopped off his head with one knife. Quick and easy, without any delay. Click. Black Fox's head fell to Sui's feet. How about my pledge of allegiance? Mazayaoyu swung the sword in her hand, and a burst of blood spilled on the ground. The blade was immediately as clean as new, without a drop of blood. Not bad. You passed. Sui smiled slightly and nodded. Go tell them that Black Fox is dead. Sui turned to a super soldier and said. Once this news came out, it would definitely accelerate the defeat of Black Fox's men. Yes, boss. The super soldier immediately started the thrusters and flew to the battlefield. Let's go. Call it a day. Sui didn't even look at the body of the Black Fox, and was about to turn around and leave. Boss, where are these people? Mazayaoyu called the boss. Oh, kill them. Sui glanced at the captured prisoners and said lightly. He just turned his back to Mazayaoyu's face and winked at one of the super soldiers. Yes, boss. The super soldiers immediately understood, and they pulled out the chainsaw swords and beheaded the Black Fox guards directly. But when it was the turn of the demon spider Kinglin, an accident happened. The super soldier who was executing the execution was tripped by something, lost his balance and fell down, and unfortunately bumped into the super soldier who was restraining Kinglin, and both of them fell down. The demon spider Kinglin, whose arm loosened, was stunned for a moment, but immediately reacted, kicked away another super soldier beside him, and then rushed out like lightning. The alert super soldier immediately raised his right arm, ready to shoot with a laser launcher. Stop, let me do it, Sui suddenly shouted, grabbed the sniper's sniper rifle, and aimed at the fleeing demon spider Kinglin. Whoosh bang. Ouch, shit. Bang. Ouch, shit. Sui fired 2 shots and both missed, and the misses were ridiculous. Forget it, it seems that God wants to spare her life, let her go, Sui said with a dejected face, and threw the sniper rifle in his hand to the sniper. Yes, boss, the super soldiers naturally had no objection. After quickly cleaning up the battlefield, they followed Sui to the battlefield. Hey, a petty man. Only Mazayaoyu looked indignant. In that situation, even she could hide it, let alone Sui. This can only mean that he deliberately let the demon spider go so that the people of the demon realm would know that she was the one who killed the Black Fox. In this way, even if she controls the Tyrannosaurus Rex in the future, she must continue to cooperate with Sui, otherwise she will have to face the revenge of the demon realm alone. Chapter 280 Test Drive. As the news of Black Fox's death spread across the battlefield, Black Fox's men collapsed immediately. Some died, some fled. In an instant, they disappeared, leaving only Zuman's Hawuji and his pet King Kong, still holding on. However, they were also at the end of their strength. Roar. Dabe seized the opportunity, howled to the sky, opened his mouth wide, shot out a beam of white light, and directly blasted a hole in King Kong's chest. When King Kong was in pain, Dabe jumped forward and bit its neck. The sharp saber teeth instantly penetrated its aorta, and blood gushed out. King Kong died instantly and contributed an SSS-level power attribute Beast Soul to Sui. Seeing his pet die tragically, Haoji was extremely angry. In a rage, he rushed towards Wang Bowen desperately. Unfortunately, he ignored Wang Bowen's skill, Flash. The figure in front of him flashed, and there was a piercing pain in his back, and his whole body stiffened instantly. Trembling, he looked down and saw a light blue iron flame coming out of his chest, instantly piercing and splitting his heart. Haoji fell to the ground with extreme unwillingness and completely lost consciousness. This also means that the Phaeton base has achieved a comprehensive victory. War is cruel. But looking at the mutant beast corpses and glittering alloy weapons all over the ground, I suddenly felt a sense of full harvest. This is not just a war, but also a strict test of the Phaeton base's response measures. Fortunately, Phaeton survived and lived well. Another big step on the road to growth. Of course, this time the harvest is not only material supplies, but also a lot of precious spiritual supplies. Let the new survivors integrate into the Phaeton faster and become one of them. After burying the dead, Phaeton entered a new round of acceleration. After the baptism of war, the Phaeton base has a few more traces of gunpowder, but it also gives people a stronger feeling. The workers worked hard to build and hoped to complete the construction of the three-ring wall as soon as possible. The farmers worked hard in the hope of getting more harvests. At this time, the Ministry of Science and Technology received good news one after another. First, the Black Phoenix had completed the transformation and entered the comprehensive testing phase. Then, the mechanical department successfully broke through the manufacturing technology of the laser transmitter, which means that Phaeton will soon be able to get rid of the shackles of thermal weapons and enter the era of laser weapons. The reason for the breakthrough is that it was found in the experiment that beast souls and corpse crystals have excellent optical uniformity, excellent mechanical properties, high physical and chemical stability, and strong thermal conductivity, which can perfectly replace laser crystals made of conventional materials. And because of its own special structure, it also has an amplification function, that is, laser weapons made of beast souls or corpse crystals are much stronger than those made of ordinary laser crystals. Although high-level beast souls and corpse crystals are difficult to find, low-level mutant beasts and zombies are everywhere on the streets, which provides the possibility of mass production of laser weapons. Of course, this also requires a large number of electronic components and special alloys to bless. However, both of these are not difficult for Phaeton. High-precision machine tools and superpresses provide the possibility of self-produced electronic components, and the rest is to find some auxiliary equipment. All these are available in the two factories of Huahu and Beijing. Just send someone to move them here. As for special metals, there is Iron Forge. With the recovery of science and technology, more and more workshops are being repaired in Iron Forge, and the special metals that can be produced are also increasing. In response to this, Su Wei specially set up a separate weapons department, which specializes in weapons research and manufacturing, with Fang Yunzi as the director. As for the mechanical department, it was also upgraded to the mechanical department, focusing on the upgrade of power armor and preparation for the construction of mechas, with Liu Hongxi as the director. Ji Tongguang's science and technology department can focus more on the research of artificial intelligence. Sister, are we going to waste time like this? Ma Xiaoyu could bear it, but Ma Xiaolin couldn't. After the war, they were placed under house arrest in this villa, because they could not be considered friends of Phaeton, but just a temporary partner, so they couldn't let Phaeton expose too many things in front of them. Although they were served with good food and drink, they were restricted from traveling. In a blink of an eye, 2 whole days had passed. Not to mention talking to Su Wei about cooperation, they couldn't even meet once. This really pissed her off. If Ma Xiaoyu hadn't stopped her, she would have rushed out to duel with Su Wei. What else? With our current situation, we will be under house arrest if we go back. It's better to stay here, it's more comfortable. Ma Xiaoyu was also anxious, but she could not help but not show it. She saw this as a test from Su Wei. Little did she know that Su Wei had forgotten about her Alice. Ma Xiaolin could not help but sigh, because what Ma Xiaoyu said was right and she could not refute it. What is Su Wei busy with? The answer is naturally the mecha test. As soon as he heard the news that the Black Phoenix modification was completed, He directly threw away the matter of discussing the follow-up cooperation with Masayu. He chose an auspicious day, on a dark and windy night. At this time, in the mecha hangar, the high-level executives of the Phaeton base gathered and looked at the ready Black Phoenix with great excitement. Although it is still black, it looks more domineering after a new paint job. Standing there, a cold breath swept over. Boss, please reply if you get it." The Metro Logistics team headed by Ji Tongguang began the communication test. "Got it, old Ji." Su Wei sat in the cockpit, wearing a special Mecha driver's suit. His body was fixed, and his head and limbs were connected to the sensors. The light blue emergency lights around him couldn't cover up the excitement on his face. "Boss, how do you feel?" Ji Tongguang asked with a hint of nervousness. "Feeling? Very good." Su Wei's excited heart was already a little bit unbearable. "Very good, boss. All departments have confirmed that it is correct and it can be started." When Ji Tongguang shouted this, he felt his hands trembling slightly. "Got it, start." Su Wei took a deep breath and pressed the one-touch start button. But there was a slight sound of the engine starting. The emergency lights turned off, and the entire cockpit lit up instantly. In a blink of an eye, the panoramic holographic display screen started up, making Su Wei feel as if he was in midair, able to see the surrounding scene as if he saw it with his own eyes. There was no obstruction at all because of the height of the mecha. Cool. Su Wei instantly fell in love with this feeling. "Boss, how is it?" Ji Tongguang's voice came from the communicator again. "Everything is normal." Su Wei looked up and observed the various display instruments suspended in the air. All were within the normal range. In order to be able to drive the mecha, he spent 2 nights studying the science of mecha driving. Fortunately, the enhanced brain could withstand it, otherwise it would have crashed long ago. Chapter 281 Test. "Okay, boss, the data we monitored is not abnormal. Now, you can enter the driving mode." Ji Tongguang breathed a sigh of relief, but his heart was still hanging in the air. After all, this was Black Phoenix's first time driving, and the driver was the leader of the base, so there would be no room for any mistakes. Received, start, driving mode. Su Wei immediately input the command to Black Phoenix. Command confirmed, entering driving mode. An elegant female voice sounded, with a unique ethereal feeling of electronic sound. Wu, the seat under Su Wei suddenly deformed, making him stand up, and the surrounding view became clearer. Driving mode started successfully. The system prompt sounded. "Boss, we will now loosen the fixing brackets one by one. You have to pay attention." Ji Tongguang's voice sounded at the right time. "Come on." Su Wei raised the corner of his mouth and made full preparations. At this time, the people watching outside were all looking at Black Phoenix with their eyes lit up nervously. Next, it was time to witness the miracle. "Loosen the foot fixing bracket." Ji Tongguang gave the first order to the microphone. "Yes." "Release the foot fixing frame." After the operator in the background confirmed the command, he touched the corresponding option. Zikashu. The fixing bolts on the Black Phoenix's feet were slowly loosened under the hydraulic power, making a series of mechanical friction sounds. Su Wei felt his feet sink slightly, as if 2 sandbags were hung on them. This is a normal reaction after the sensor is connected. But fortunately, there is not much discomfort. "Old G, continue." Su Wei couldn't help but urge. "Release the leg fixing frame." Ji Tongguang then ordered. "Yes, release the leg fixing frame." Zikashu. Another burst of mechanical friction sound rang out, and the fixing bolts on the Black Phoenix's legs were loosened, and the 2 huge legs shook obviously. "Oh my god, this feeling is getting more and more real. It's like I'm hanging on a rack." Feeling the heaviness coming from his legs, Su Wei couldn't help but sigh. "Release your arms, Zikashu." The fixing frame was released, and the 2 arms of the Black Phoenix slid down immediately. Su Wei's arms also felt gravity, and he couldn't help but raise his right hand to look. The Black Phoenix mecha also raised its right hand in front of it, and performed a move of Su Wei synchronously. Yet, just this one move immediately caused cheers from everyone present. Because this meant that the Black Phoenix mecha was normal. "Boss, now we have to release the fixing frame of the body." Ji Tongguang's voice became more and more nervous. Because the most critical moment was about to come. "Come on baby, let it go." Su Wei couldn't help but yelled. This strange feeling was really amazing. "Attention all units, prepare to release the body fixing frame." Ji Tongguang suppressed his inner tension and shouted. "Received." "Open the guardrail, retract the maintenance board, clear the mecha platform." Confirmed. "Release the body fixing frame." Messages came back one by one, and after everything was confirmed, A heavy mechanical friction sound rang out. Bang! Oh my god. The moment the fuselage fixing frame was released, Haifeng stumbled and almost fell. The guardrail it touched was instantly deformed, and a shallow pit was stepped on the mecha platform. Just now, Sui felt as if hundreds of tons of weight suddenly hit him, and he almost lost his balance. Fortunately, he reacted in time and held on without falling down. In fact, this is a realistic experience given by the sensor to the driver. After all, the tonnage of the mecha is there, and the movements are definitely not as flexible as the human body. If the driver moves too fast and the body cannot react, then the continuous superposition of several actions will cause the processor to be unable to recognize, and then the system will fail to operate. Therefore, the sense of gravity is applied in proportion so that the driver can feel the existence of the mecha as if he is there, so as to synchronize with the mecha in action and reaction. The people outside were terrified, fearing that Sui would lose control and knock down the building. However, this is believed to be unnecessary. With a strengthened body and dual strength attributes, this sense of gravity is nothing to Sui. It was just that he was a little uncomfortable at the beginning, so he felt caught off guard. After a few minutes, Sui gradually adapted to the restraint of gravity. In fact, just like weight training, it will be fine after the initial stage. Boss, how is it? Ji Tongguang's cautious voice came, as if he was afraid to disturb Sui. No problem, I can handle it. Sui twisted his neck and moved his shoulders. Black Phoenix also made strange movements synchronously. Very good, boss, we can start the test. Ji Tongguang's worry finally fell by half. Next, it is the test of routine movements. Raising hands, raising feet, stepping on the spot, grasping, switching weapon systems, etc. After the initial novelty, Sui felt extremely bored doing these simple and repetitive movements, just like a child playing house. But looking at the excited expressions of Ji Tongguang and others, he couldn't bear to disturb them, so he could only patiently cooperate. Hey, old Ji, is this going to end? After a while, Sui couldn't help it and complained to Ji Tongguang. Okay. Boss, let's start the flight test immediately. The boss's impatience could be heard. Ji Tongguang quickly called a halt and switched the test items. Fly, nice. Hurry up, I can't wait. Sui immediately became interested again. Beep beep in the center of the Phaeton base, the roof of the 100-meter-high mecha hangar quietly opened. After the various departments confirmed that everything was correct, the red indicator light on the roof turned green. The deck is cleared, the launch port is open. As the confirmation information was summarized to the control console, Ji Tongguang conveyed the flight order to Sui. Sui controlled a Black Phoenix and stood on the deck. He could look up and see the night sky outside through the hatch on the roof. Start, flight mode. Sui immediately gave the Black Phoenix an order. Boom. Thrusters popped out from the back, legs and elbows of the Black Phoenix, and instantly ignited, spraying out azure flames. A strong airflow instantly swept the entire mecha hangar, and the onlookers were blown all over the place. With the air current and squinting, one could barely see that the huge body of the Black Phoenix was slowly leaving the ground and flying upwards. And the speed was getting faster and faster. After a few seconds, it rushed into the night sky with a whoosh. Zizzy, boss, the test field is 100 kilometers south of the base. Zizzy, boss, pay attention to the flight altitude. Zizzy, the long-distance communication in the wasteland was basically paralyzed. Therefore, just when Sui flew hundreds of meters in the air, the communicator reached its limit and a lot of interference noise came. Received, Allah. After Sui finished speaking, he cut off the communicator. The noise was very annoying. Then he immersed himself in the joy of flying the mecha. Chapter 282 Giant Eagle. A strong sense of pushing back came. Cool. It is worthy of the dream of all men. At this moment, Pagani, Lamborghini, Bugatti, they are all younger brothers. Oh, no. It should be grandsons and grandsons. In a flash, the Black Phoenix reached a height of several thousand meters. Under the night sky, the stars shone. In this vast space, the huge Black Phoenix suddenly looked small. Sui's excitement also calmed down instantly. Fuck. I accidentally flew over my head. Sui looked at the height and hurriedly stopped the Black Phoenix and hovered in the air. Trying to move your hands and feet is not much different from being on the ground. The thrusters can coordinate the mecha well and keep balance. Sui immediately had a lot of fun. Front flip, back flip, acceleration, Emergency stop, just like a big boy got a toy he had been longing for a long time, and he couldn't let it go. Fortunately, Su-wei did not forget the second stage of the test. After having a little fun, he descended and flew in the designated direction. The distance of 100 kilometers was reached in a blink of an eye. 3 piles of flame marks arranged in a triangle on the ground were particularly conspicuous in the night. Su-wei lowered the flight altitude again and landed in the test site. Oh yeah! The Phaeton soldiers guarding the test area were immediately excited when they saw the mighty Black Phoenix slowly descending. A mecha. That was a mecha belonging to the Phaeton base. It was definitely the top existence above the wasteland. Boss, please reply." As soon as Su-wei turned on the communicator, Feng Yunzi's voice came. Short-range communication equipment was built in the test site, so the communication was restored. "Got it, Minister Feng, can we start?" Actual combat was the part that Su-wei was most concerned about. "Yes, everything is ready," Feng Yunzi agreed to the test without saying a word. The first thing was naturally long-range attack. The Black Phoenix was equipped with 2 long-range weapons, laser cannons and heavy howitzers. They can be used alternately in case of emergency. There are also several close combat guns hidden under the armor in front and behind the body, which can attack and intercept high-speed small targets. Then there are melee weapons, alloy giant swords and plasma cutters. Let the Black Phoenix have 3 combat modes, long, medium and short, plus the ability to fly, almost an all-round combat unit. To be honest, although laser weapons are powerful and easy to carry, but it doesn't feel like a heavy howitzer when used. However, Su-wei's favorite is still the melee weapon, the alloy giant sword, which is very cool to use and full of power. There is no technological content, it is directly forged with a large amount of alloy, 50 meters long and 10 meters wide, simple and crude. It is completely the rhythm of conquering the world with power. However, there is no way. In the wasteland world, resources are scarce, and the maintenance and supply of energy weapons are under great pressure. What's more, the Black Phoenix is so big that it takes a lot of supplies to maintain it once. Therefore, cold weapons will become the main combat weapon of the Black Phoenix. Use alloy armor and giant swords to crush the enemy. Everything is going according to plan and going smoothly. Feng Yunzi also obtained a lot of very useful data to further optimize the Black Phoenix. However, a loud hissing sound came from the sky, interrupting the test in the middle of the test. What the hell? What is that? Oh my god. Suddenly, a dark cloud flew in the night sky. No, that's not a dark cloud. With the light of the fire, everyone saw the true face of the thing. Oh my god. It turned out to be a mutant bird with a wingspan of nearly 100 meters. An eagle-like head, a huge beak like an eagle, and a cold light shining on its sharp claws. Prepare for battle, Li Yanli and Su Xiaodong, who were in charge of the guard, shouted immediately. Damn, there is no raptor nest nearby. Where did this thing come from? Ahem. If Su-wei knew that it was attracted by the airflow generated by the flight of the Black Phoenix, I wonder if he would regret not listening to Ji Tongguang's instructions and exceeding the flight altitude without authorization. However, it is meaningless to say all this now. Minister Feng, connect me to Li Yanli. Su-wei and the mecha saw more clearly and quickly said to the communicator. Yes, boss. Feng Yunzi immediately interrupted the test channel and connected the signal of the Black Phoenix to the communication channel of the Special Forces. Old Lei, please answer if you hear me. Su-wei saw the signal light of the communicator light up, and immediately called Li Yanli. Boss, got it, boss. Please give instructions. Li Yanli was stunned for a moment and responded hurriedly. The mutant raptor began to hover over the test field, as if observing the reaction of the prey, and then making a judgment on how to attack. Let everyone stay put, I want to fight this big guy, Su-wei ordered directly. Boss, is it too dangerous? Li Yanli couldn't help but speak out. After all, the Black Phoenix is still in the testing stage, and no one knows whether it will fail. It's okay, I know it, Su-wei asserted. Yes, boss, Li Yanli could only agree. Then, the order was issued. The Special Forces members who were ready to fight retreated to the bunkers, and Feng Yunzi and others also hid in the bunkers dug in advance. In the entire test field, only Black Phoenix was left alone, looking up at the mutant giant eagle hovering in the air. But this guy just hovered there and didn't fly down to attack. Oh my god, I don't have time to waste time with you here, Sui was impatient, reached out and grabbed the big stone on the ground, and threw it at the mutant giant eagle. Maybe he got the feeling from throwing a brick at Red Eye last time, and this stone went up and hit the giant eagle in the chest. There was a muffled bang, like thunder. Chirp! The giant eagle was immediately angry. Don't I have any face? You actually threw a stone at me, and you hid it. I can tolerate it for a mouse, but I can't tolerate it for an eagle. So, the giant eagle screamed and swooped down at Black Phoenix. The speed was as fast as lightning. Sui didn't expect the giant eagle to be so fast. He had no time to change his moves, so he could only raise the alloy giant sword and use it as a shield. Bang! The giant eagle's claws were blocked by the alloy giant sword, and the sharp claws immediately scratched several marks on the alloy giant sword, showing its great strength. Sui immediately swung his left arm, and with an uppercut, bypassed the giant sword, and hit the giant eagle's face heavily. The giant eagle's head shook and its tongue flew out. Bang! In severe pain. The giant eagle flapped its wings vigorously, and the hurricane made the Black Phoenix shake. Sui quickly inserted the giant sword into the ground to stabilize his body. The giant eagle took this opportunity to escape from Sui's attack range, flew into the sky, and roared angrily at the Black Phoenix, but did not dare to attack easily again. Chapter 283, Offline. Damn, if you have the guts, come down. Sui shook his head in frustration and stood up straight. He couldn't help but make an internationally accepted gesture towards the giant eagle in the sky. Middle finger. In the scuffle just now, the giant eagle slapped the Black Phoenix in the face with its wings, causing the mecha to shake. Sui managed to stabilize the mecha without falling. The guy took the opportunity to run into the sky. Chirp! The giant eagle seemed to understand Sui's provocation, and even shouted angrily a few times, as if to say, if you have the guts, come up. Hey, I have a bad temper, Uncle can tolerate it, but Aunt can't. Sui raised the giant sword in his hand, activated the flight mode, and flew into the sky. Chirp! Unexpectedly, this big guy could fly. The mutant giant eagle flapped its wings and flew high in fear. But soon, it seemed to feel that the dignity of the beast was challenged, and it rushed towards the Black Phoenix with a sharp scream. This guy's its home court, how can it allow others to invade? Sui is not a pushover, and he rushed up to fight hard. So the man and the eagle fought in the air, and it was hard to tell who would win. The giant eagle could only rely on its agile body movements and sharp claws and beak in the air. But Sui used all kinds of tricks, sometimes chasing and slashing with a giant sword, sometimes sweeping with lasers, sometimes bombarding with grenades, and sometimes tearing feathers with his hands. The most outrageous thing was that he used the flames of the thrusters to burn the eagle's hair. Damn! Only the giant eagle knew the taste. In the test field, everyone hiding in the bunker smelled the smell of burnt eagle hair. Everyone couldn't help but mourn for the giant eagle in their hearts. Why did you have to mess with a boss when you couldn't mess with anyone else? A man like a god. A man like the wind. In the sky, the giant eagle was knocked down and doubted its life. It swore that it was full and came out for a walk, and then was attracted by a strange airflow. How could it encounter such a pervert? God, please send down your magic power and take him away. The above omitted the eagle's 10,000 words of complaints. Bang! In the end, the giant eagle was defeated by the mecha and was punched to the ground from the sky. When everyone came out of the bunker, the mutant giant eagle was dead. The originally bright and beautiful feathers became scattered and burned black, and the feathers on the head were plucked out. A mighty and majestic giant eagle was turned into a vulture. It is estimated that this eagle brother will not close his eyes until he dies, and he will be ashamed of his ancestors if he goes to the underworld. Beep bang. Just as everyone was in silence for the giant eagle, another thing fell from the sky. It shook the earth. Take a closer look. Oh my god. It turned out to be a Black Phoenix. The originally mighty and domineering mecha was covered with scratches. Although it did not penetrate the alloy armor, it also showed the power of the eagle's claws. It made people's backs cold. This is nothing. What's more surprising is that every joint of the Black Phoenix was hot and red, and it was still emitting green smoke. The system had been offline for a long time, and it was as quiet as death. Boss, Su Xiaodong and others' faces changed drastically, and they rushed forward and tried to pry open the cockpit to check. But most parts of the mecha were hot, and several people jumped up when they touched it. Sizzle bang. At this moment, the door of the cockpit flew off, and Sui was ejected from it with his seat. With his butt backward, Su Wei landed steadily on the ground like a leaf falling on the flat sand. Boss, boss. A group of special forces rushed up and helped Su Wei unbuckle his seat belt and lift him down from the seat. Stop, 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 I'm fine, let go, let go. Being caressed by so many dirty hands, Su Wei immediately became anxious. It was not easy to break free from the hands of everyone. Suddenly, he felt impure. Oh boss. Are you really okay? Su Xiaodong asked again with a worried look on his face. Don't hurt your brain if you fall from such a high place. It's okay, it's okay. Su Wei waved his hand and stepped back. This big man was so enthusiastic that it made people feel blue. Minister Fang. As he said that, Su Wei hurried to find Fang Yunzi. It turned out that after defeating the mutant giant eagle, when Su Wei was feeling good about himself, the Black Phoenix suddenly went alone and fell freely from a height of several hundred meters. He was buzzing in his head, otherwise he would not have let those big men take advantage of it. After hearing Su Wei's description, Fang Yunzi immediately brought people and instruments to climb into the cockpit of the Black Phoenix. After a detailed inspection, a conclusion that made people laugh bitterly was given. He used too much force. The gravity restraint system originally used for the mecha pilot was not very effective for Su Wei. In addition, the battle was fierce just now, and Su Wei became more and more courageous without knowing it. The mecha was subjected to a speed it should not have been subjected to, so the various parts were severely worn, the system was overloaded, and eventually it crashed. Fortunately, it was after the mutant giant eagle was solved, otherwise there would be a lot of fun to watch. Although this test did not go according to plan. But an unexpected actual combat exposed many problems of the mecha. The first is the problem of old system. After all, it is a product before the catastrophe, and the driving mechanism is established based on the data model of ordinary people. Now, the emergence of strengthening potions has greatly enhanced the human physique, so there is a generation gap in the system matching degree, which needs to be upgraded as soon as possible. Secondly, although the new alloy has good performance, it is also much heavier, which puts great pressure on the suspension system of the mecha. This requires the redesign and manufacture of a new suspension system, otherwise the true strength of the Black Phoenix cannot be brought into play. The third is the energy system. The previous super energy battery matrix was replaced with a hydrogen polymer fuel rod, which seems to be a bit too strong for the current body. It is necessary to continue to optimize the body's strength and grade the energy output, otherwise it will go berserk at any time and the body will be tossed apart. The final conclusion is that the Black Phoenix needs to be upgraded and transformed. In its current state, it is not suitable for long-term combat, and if Su Wei is driving it, he can only use half of his power, otherwise it will crash directly like now. After getting the desired result, everyone immediately packed up and went home. The huge mecha was separated from the waste and transported back to the base in two sections. When they saw the miserable Black Phoenix, everyone complained in their hearts that this boss was too fierce. However, when everyone saw the even more miserable corpse of the mutant giant eagle, they were relieved. Although the Black Phoenix was sent to the mecha hangar for repair, the mutant giant eagle also provided the base with an SSSS-level beast soul. This is a good thing that is hard to come by, as big as a basketball. The only drawback is that it has no attributes and is blank. But this also allowed Su Wei to soar directly from level 4 to level 6, which corresponds to the cultivation level of the modern world, that is a proper king level. Coupled with his unparalleled physique, he can definitely beat the king level, and 1 foot has already stepped into the emperor level. Became the real boss of the base. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 284 Joining Forces. In order to absorb the beast soul of the mutant giant eagle, Su Wei stayed in the base for another day. After the successful breakthrough, he felt refreshed and a feeling of being invincible came naturally. Boss, at noon, Su Wei just came out of the room and Song Dan came to greet him. Sister Song, why are you here? Su Wei took her hand and asked with concern. Everyone is busy. I finished my work and came to see you. Do you need any help? Song Dan shook Su Wei's big hand and said softly. You are so nice, let's go and have dinner together. Su Wei took Song Dan and walked towards the restaurant. Soon, Su Wei prepared 4 dishes, 1 soup, and a pot of rice. These are all ingredients produced by the Phaeton base. Perhaps because of the water and soil, the taste is not excellent, but it is much better than the leaves and roots in the past. The two of them enjoyed their own world together, and the air was full of warmth. In such an environment, what to eat is not to eat? Boss, what should we do with those people in the Tyrannosaurus Rex base? Songdan asked as lunch was coming to an end. It has been 4 days, and those people have been under house arrest in the base, doing nothing, and they still have to be served with good food and drink. Oh my god. Su Wei's heart skipped a beat when he heard this. How could he have forgotten about this matter? Boss, what's wrong? Songdan looked at Su Wei's somewhat embarrassed expression with curiosity. Ahem, nothing. By the way, has Ma Xiaoyu reacted in the past few days? Su Wei asked hurriedly. She is very quiet, but her subordinate Ma Xiaolin has had several conflicts with the guards. Every time it was Ma Xiaoyu who spoke up to stop them. I don't know if it was her instructions, or if Ma Xiaolin acted on her own. Songdan complained a little. Huding has given enough face, but some people still don't know what's good for them. I'll go see her, it's about time. Su Wei stood up after speaking. Yes, do you need me to go with you? Songdan asked. No, just do your thing, I'll take care of it myself. Su Wei shook his head. Okay, then you go, I'll clean it up, Songdan said, getting up and picking up the dishes on the table, and walked towards the kitchen. Her graceful figure and virtuous temperament made Su Wei stunned. Oh, damn war. Su Wei quickly put away his feelings and walked out of the big villa. This is his exclusive residence, and several women also live here on weekdays. The Phaeton base after the war seemed even busier. But people had more smiles on their faces. After all, Phaeton's strong belief is deeply rooted in people's hearts, and this is the happiest thing on the wasteland. Strolling to a newly built residential area, Ma Xiaoyu and Ma Xiaolin were settled here. As for the others, they were settled in the residential area outside the first ring and inside the second ring. Boss, Wu Nan, who is in charge of the guard, saw Su Wei coming and greeted him. Thank you for your hard work, not hard. Boss, do you want to see them? Yes, Su Wei nodded. Wu Nan immediately went to open the door and walked in first. Ma Xiaoyu and Ma Xiaolin, who were sitting on the sofa in the living room watching TV series, did not move their heads when they heard the door open. Princess, are you used to living here? Seeing such a harmonious scene, Su Wei was stunned. A woman like Ma Xiaoyu actually watches TV series? How bored must she be? Su Wei. Hearing the voice, Ma Xiaoyu jumped up from the sofa. The look she gave Su Wei was so resentful, like a young wife who stayed alone in an empty room on her wedding night and finally saw her husband return. That, how about I come back later? Su Wei turned his face away quickly. The main reason was that Ma Xiaoyu was wearing a nightgown, and when she got up, she used too much force, and the strap on her chest broke. No need. Ma Xiaoyu blushed with shame, and hurriedly reached out to grab the collar, tied the broken strap back, and even tied 2 more knots. Soon, both parties sat down at the dining table, one on each side. Wu Nan stood behind Su Wei, and Ma Xiaolin stood behind Ma Xiaoyu. It was like a bilateral meeting. Tell me about your plan. Su Wei crossed his arms and stared at Ma Xiaoyu. If there was no satisfactory plan, he would not help her. My father has 2 trump cards in his hand. One is Wu Shui, a 6-star evolver and the second best player in the Tyrannosaurus Rex base. The other is the Tyrannosaurus Rex Legion. Although they only have 100 people, they are all composed of enhancers above level 8. They are well equipped, brave and good at fighting, and they are cruel by nature. They will not accept orders from anyone except their father. Ma Xiaoyu began to introduce them. There are a total of 3 most elite special forces in the Tyrannosaurus Rex base, namely the Tyrannosaurus Rex Legion, the Silver Wolf Legion and the Tiger Legion. Among them, the Tyrannosaurus Rex Legion is Ma Long's Guard Legion, the Silver Wolf Legion is Ma Xiaoyu's exclusive legion, and the Tiger Legion is the trump card unit that Ma Long built for his son. The 3 legions are all composed of 100 people, and the combat power from high to low is Tyrannosaurus Rex, Silver Wolf, and Tiger. You mean, if you take down Wu Shui and Tyrannosaurus, you can control the Tyrannosaurus base? Su Wei had a calm face, and there was no sign of his inner turmoil. Tyrannosaurus is a large base, with a population of more than 30,000 survivors and 8,000 armed personnel. On average, every 4 people support 1 armed person. This is already very impressive in the wasteland. But compared with Phaeton, it is a scum. Phaeton is currently at a 1-to-1 ratio, and it will reach a 1-to-2 ratio in a while. In other words, the number of armed personnel is greater than the number of residents. Yes, my prestige in the army can only be suppressed by my father, so as long as you control my father, it is equivalent to controlling the Tyrannosaurus base. When Masayoyu said this, a trace of unconcealable sadness flashed in her eyes. We are of the same roots, why are we so anxious to fight each other? She didn't want to do this, but she was forced to do everything. You are taking a big risk, how can I believe in your prestige in the army? Su Wei frowned slightly. The level of the Tyrannosaurus Rex core does sound scary, but it is nothing to Phaeton, who can mass-produce strengthening potions. It is just a large base. If it gets chaotic, it is not something that 100 people can suppress. If not handled properly, it will be counterattacked. Don't you know this, Zhang Wei? Masayoyu smiled when she heard it, and called out the name of Su Wei, who had sneaked into the Tyrannosaurus Rex team at that time. Su Wei also witnessed that the 3,000-man Tyrannosaurus Rex team obeyed her orders. I forgot about this. Okay. Then let's have a happy cooperation. Su Wei smiled and then stretched out his right hand to Masayoyu. Happy cooperation. Masayoyu suppressed her inner excitement and stretched out her hand to shake hands with Su Wei. Chapter 285 Expedition. Su Wei left Masayoyu's villa very late. After reaching a cooperation, the two had an in-depth discussion and exchange, and even Wu Nan and Masayoyu were asked to stand guard at the door. Because the things they discussed next were related to the success or failure of the overall situation, naturally the fewer people knew about it, the better. Walking on the streets of the base at night, it was very deserted. The survivors who had been busy all day had already fallen asleep, hoping that tomorrow would still be a good day. Su Wei took a deep breath of the slightly cool night breeze, and his mind suddenly became clear. Helping Masayoyu control the Tyrannosaurus Rex base is indeed dangerous. But the rewards are equally generous. Directly annexing a large base is the rhythm of eating a fat man in one bite. This makes Su Wei very much looking forward to it. As for the issue of Masayoyu's betrayal, Su Wei has 100 ways to bring down a base, whether it is small or large. Therefore, Masayoyu had better not be stupid, otherwise he will be courting death. In addition, there is another more important reason, that is the demon realm. An existence that is more powerful than a large base. Although it was Masayoyu who killed the Black Fox, the demon realm would not let Phaeton go. This can be seen from the Black Fox's revenge. Therefore, Su Wei needs to strengthen himself as soon as possible. At the same time, reducing one enemy is always better than one against two. So Su Wei agreed with Masayoyu to set off early tomorrow morning. When Su Wei walked into the exclusive villa, Zhang Ling, Yu Na, and Song Dan were still awake, sitting in the living room, waiting for Su Wei's return. Brother, are you leaving? Yu Na was the first to rush up, transformed into a koala, and hung on Su Wei's neck. Zhang Ling and Song Dan both looked at Su Wei nervously. In the wasteland world, people are together less and apart more. Well, tomorrow morning, Su Wei nodded with a hint of helplessness. The stronger the ability, the greater the responsibility. Since the Phaeton base has been established, Su Wei must make it stand on the top of the wasteland. Brother, take me with you. Yu Na arched her little head against Su Wei's chest and said coquettishly. No, I won't take anyone with me this time, Su Wei said with a serious face. This trip was extremely dangerous, and he didn't want to take his woman to take risks. No, I want to go with my brother, Yu Na said unwillingly. Be obedient, or I'll spank you, Su Wei said and came. Bad brother, Yu Na blushed with shame and jumped off Su Wei. Zio Na, listen to the boss. Song Dan quickly took Yu Na's hand and comforted her. Are you sure you are sure? Zhang Ling didn't have much expression on her face, just asked coolly. Yes, Su Wei smiled and nodded. This is the way the iceberg woman cares about people, which is understandable. It can even be foreseen that as long as he doesn't answer clearly enough, he will be restricted from going out by her immediately. But it seems that she is no longer Su Wei's opponent now. That's good, Zhang Ling said, standing up and walking towards her bedroom. Where are you going? Su Wei was stunned. Shouldn't he have a carnival party before leaving? Take a shower and go to bed, Zhang Ling replied unhappily. Take a shower together, Su Wei's devilish laughter rang out. Zhang Ling's cold steps were instantly disordered, and she almost stumbled and fell. The next morning, Su Wei carefully struggled out of the gentle land, quietly left the big villa, and then came to the square outside the north gate. In the square, the team was gathering. This time, Su Wei was going to take Wu Nan and Su Xiaodong, and there were also 100 special warfare members. However, this time the special warfare members were uniformly equipped with HT-1 power armor. On the one hand, it was to save time on the road, and on the other hand, it was to give the special warfare members more protection. He believed that such special warfare members would definitely give the Tyrannosaurus Rex Legion a big surprise. Next to the special warfare members was a neat team of wolf cavalry. In the Battle of Shizuoka, the wolf cavalry suffered heavy losses. Fortunately, Ma Xiao surrendered to Su Wei, so they received timely treatment and the strength of the Silver Wolf Corps was preserved. Although it was no longer a reorganized 100 people, it was still no problem to deal with the third-ranked Tiger Corps. Ma Xiao and Ma Xiaolin changed back to the exclusive armor of the wolf cavalry, and they looked heroic in the morning breeze. "Boss, the team has assembled, please give instructions." Su Xiaodong saw Su Wei coming and immediately stepped forward to report. "Let's go." Su Wei didn't say much. These elites who were selected overnight all knew the mission they were going to perform. "Yes, everyone, let's go." Su Xiaodong immediately turned around and gave orders. Buzz buzz buzz. The thrusters on the back of the HT-1 power armor lit up with a light blue flame, and 100 Special Forces members slowly rose into the air. The turbulent airflow made the wolf pack restless. But under the comfort of Ma Xiao's supernatural power, they still maintained a neat formation. After taking off, Ma Xiao and Ma Xiaolin could not help showing a look of shock. A full set of power armor, all of them are level 8 or above enhancers. I dare not imagine how strong the combat power of this group of people can be. However, such a powerful steel torrent is just one of the forces in the Phaeton base. This is very annoying. However, now it is good, I am also Su Wei's subordinate. In the future, when I take charge of the Tyrannosaurus Rex base, the boss should not be partial to one over the other. Thinking of the super soldiers standing in the square of the Tyrannosaurus Rex base, Ma Xiao's heart couldn't help but tremble. "Boss. Please." Thinking of this, Ma Xiao personally led Yinying to Su Wei. "Thank you." Su Wei was not polite and turned over to write on Yinying. This time, a forced march is needed. In addition to the special forces relying on power armor, Wu Nan, Su Xiaodong, and the reconnaissance team he led are all equipped with mutant wolves. And each person has 2 wolves, and they are on the road without interruption. No farewell, no blessing. A team of more than 200 people quietly left the Phaeton base in the sunlight of dawn and headed northeast. Without stopping at all along the way, under the leadership of Ma Xiao, it took 2 days to arrive at the southernmost satellite base of the Tyrannosaurus base, the Carcharodontosaurus base. From here, there will be spies of the Tyrannosaurus along the way. Therefore, Su Wei and his team took a remote road instead, and hid during the day and traveled at night to avoid the eyes of the Tyrannosaurus. It was just right to recharge the power armor consumed along the way. 2 days later, the shadow of the Tyrannosaurus base was in full view. It is worthy of being a large settlement of tens of thousands of people, far larger than the Phaeton, and there are endless survivors coming to trade around, which even gives people a glimmer of hope for the revival of civilization. In the middle of the base, there is another magnificent tower. According to Ma Xiao, that is the Tyrannosaurus Malone Palace. Chapter 286. Wu Yiming. Wu Nan, Su Xiaodong and others were placed in a ruin outside the Tyrannosaurus Rex base. Su Wei dressed up as a wolf cavalryman alone and followed Ma Xiao into the Tyrannosaurus Rex base. With the Phantom and the voice changer, he can change many faces. With unlimited storage space, it can be said that it only takes a few minutes to destroy a base. The appearance of the Phantom naturally surprised Ma Xiao again. She thought she had a certain understanding of Su Wei, but now she found that she still knew nothing about him. She even doubted for a while whether she had ever seen Su Wei's true face. This undoubtedly made Ma Xiao more awed by Su Wei. At the same time, the chances of controlling the Tyrannosaurus Rex increased a little. The princess is back, the princess is back. Su Wei and his men had just arrived at the gate of the Tyrannosaurus Rex base and caused quite a stir. Whether it was the guards or the merchants coming and going, they all showed envy and respect for the Silver Wolf Corps. The Silver Wolf Corps is the second elite of the Tyrannosaurus Rex, with countless military exploits and is well known far and wide. Princess Ma Xiaoyu is both talented and beautiful, and the survivors active in this land have admired her for a long time. There are even rumors that whoever gets Ma Xiaoyu's assistance can become the second Tyrannosaurus Rex. It can be seen that everyone has a high evaluation of Ma Xiaoyu. It is no wonder that Ma Long, who favors boys over girls, has a headache. Because, just these rumors are enough to shake Ma Teng's dominance. In front of people, Ma Xiaoyu returned to her arrogant appearance and rushed directly into the base with a silver wolf core, ignoring everyone. Soon, the group returned to the Silver Wolf Palace in the west of the base. This is also Ma Xiaoyu's residence. A seemingly magnificent palace, but there is no decent decoration. The only thing worth praising is the training ground behind the palace. It is enough to accommodate the training of hundreds of wolf cavalry, and the materials inside are all top grade. It can be seen that Ma Xiaoyu has invested a lot of money in the Silver Wolf Corps. In order to cover up Su Wei's identity, Ma Xiaoyu specially transferred a small team of wolf cavalry as guards. The wolf cavalry that Su Wei pretended to be was naturally among them. You are such a shabby princess, the accommodation is not even as good as the one in my house. Looking at the empty room, Su Wei couldn't help but complain. How can my little shop compare with you, the boss? Now you know how wrong they are, right? Ma Xiaoyu said with a face full of resentment. She had never seen a place with better material conditions than the Phaeton base. Cough. Okay, I can't do without you in the future. Su Wei's cough interrupted Ma Xiaoyu's gaze. Thank you, boss. Ma Xiaoyu immediately became happy, and her expression changed faster than turning a page. Sister, the king sent someone to ask you to enter the palace immediately. While the two were chatting, Ma Xiaoyu rushed in from outside. There was a trace of anxiety on her face. King, Su Wei couldn't help but complain in his heart when he heard this title. This guy really thinks he is a big shot. Did you say anything else? Ma Xiaoyu frowned slightly. This came much faster than expected. No more. Ma Xiaoyu shook her head. Okay. Pass the order down, let everyone be smart. You come with me to the palace, Ma Xiaoyu first said to Ma Xiaoyu, and then to Su Wei. So soon? Su Wei was stunned. Just take you to get familiar with the road first. What are you thinking? Ma Xiaoyu rolled her eyes at Su Wei, not knowing if he was deliberately irritating her. I thought I could finish the work early. Su Wei smiled slightly. If possible, he would like to finish the work quickly and go back to his wife in warm bed. Cap. With that, the two of them went out and followed the people in the palace to the high tower in the center. Arrived at the gate of the palace. Mounts, battle pets, weapons, etc. are not allowed to be brought in, including Ma Xiaoyu. So their mutant wolves and weapons are kept in isolation. This is of no use to Su Wei. After a strict inspection, Ma Xiaoyu took Su Wei into the palace. Compared with Ma Xiaoyu's Silver Wolf Palace, this place is many times more gorgeous, but in Su Wei's eyes, it is still not worth mentioning. After passing 3 guard posts and 5 sentries, we finally arrived at the tower. Strictly speaking, it is not too high, just a few dozen meters. The tower is invisibly highlighted because it is surrounded by low buildings. What made Su Wei complain even more was that the elevator of the tower actually used a human winch. A group of men dressed as slaves pushed a huge winch, like grinding flour, to make the elevator go up and down. The scene was very shocking. Look at this outfit, it's awesome. But it also explains the status of the weak in the wasteland world. The elevator went directly to the top floor, and a magnificent gate came into view. In front of the door, there was a team of guards in heavy armor, with an imposing manner, and the head of a Tyrannosaurus Rex was engraved on the breastplates. Needless to say, they are members of the Tyrannosaurus Rex Legion. Sure enough, they are not bad, and they look very capable. Crash! Ma Xiaoyu took Su Wei to the door, but was blocked by 2 guards with their spears crossed in their hands. Li Jinshan, what do you mean? Ma Xiaoyu's face darkened, and she turned to look at the man leading the team. He was Li Jinshan, the leader of the Tyrannosaurus Rex. Princess, who is this? She looks strange. Li Jinshan looked at Su Wei unmoved and asked. The new leader of the Silver Wolf Regiment, Wu Yiming, Ma Xiaoyu introduced coldly. The face Su Wei was using now was naturally provided by her. He was a member of the Silver Wolf Regiment, but he died in battle like the original leader Zhang Zhao. Leader, where's Zhang Zhao? Li Jinshan was shocked when he heard this. Dead, Ma Xiaoyu said expressionlessly. How did he die? Li Jinshan asked subconsciously. Li Jinshan, you have such a great authority, Do you need me to report to you in person? Ma Xiao asked coldly. After all, she was a princess, and it was not her turn for a leader to interrogate her. Ahem, I dare not. I lost my composure, princess, please. Li Jinshan was stunned by the retort, and then quickly waved his hand to let the guards back off. The door was opened. The magnificent hall was revealed. The throne was facing the door. At this moment, a man in his 50s was sitting on it. He had short hair, thick eyebrows, a square face, a thick nose and a wide mouth, exuding a rough aura. A pair of sharp eyes exuded a beast-like light, which was extremely aggressive. Under the throne, stood a man who was also in his 50s. With gray hair, thin cheeks, and a mustache, quite handsome. Su Wei had seen this man before. He was Wu Sidan, the military commander who escorted Ma Teng last time. Below him were Ma Teng, Wang Qi and others, all familiar faces to Su Wei. The rest were a group of unfamiliar faces. Chapter 287, An Ordinary Man's Angry. Xiaoyu, how is the battle going? Tyrannosaurus Ma Long asked when he saw Ma Xiaoyu coming in. Father, I'm sorry, I failed, Ma Xiaoyu said with a disappointed look. This matter should have been reported back a long time ago, and there was no need to hide it. Oh, hearing the news of the defeat, Ma Long did not seem to be disappointed at all, but instead had a taste of secret joy. This is intriguing. It doesn't matter, it's just a Shizukou, a third-rate base, which is dispensable to us, but I heard that you suffered heavy losses this time, and the Silver Wolf Corps returned with broken wings. Ma Long then asked his daughter. There was a rare concern on his face. Yes, father, I was too careless, please punish me, Ma Xiaoyu nodded. If it were in the past, she would definitely be moved by this concern. Unfortunately, too many times, such an expression foreshadowed betrayal, selling out and exploitation. So, she has completely given up. But now, she still pretended to be grateful. Nothing is more important than your safe return, don't worry, I will send someone to deal with the loss of the Silver Wolf Corps, you don't have to worry about it. In addition, an important guest will come in 3 days, you will be responsible for the reception, remember to make it grand. Ma Teng forced a smile and said as gently as possible. Father, I will take care of the Silver Wolf Corps. Besides, receiving distinguished guests also requires safety guarantees, right? A trace of anger flashed in Ma Xiaoyu's eyes. Ma Teng meant that he wanted to take over his own Silver Wolf Corps. No, the Silver Wolf Corps has just experienced a war and should rest well. Leave the security issue to the Tiger Corps this time. Ma Teng will fully cooperate with you, Ma Long said undeniably. This is not only to undermine Ma Xiaoyu, but also to use the Tiger Corps to trap her. It seems that this guy is ready to get serious. Father, Ma Xiaoyu looked sad. I didn't expect that this time he would be so ugly. Sister, don't argue anymore, father is doing this for your own good, take this opportunity to have a good rest, otherwise, people will say that our Ma family has no one left. It's up to you, a girl, to fight outside. Tell me, where can I put my face? Ma Teng said to Ma Xiaoyu with a smug look on his face. After today, Ma Xiaoyu will completely lose her power and will no longer be a stumbling block to his succession to the throne. You have no face to put, Ma Xiaoyu angrily said to Ma Teng. You? Ma Teng was speechless. Princess, the empire is the most important thing in everything. At this time, Wu Shui, who had remained silent, spoke. The hall was silent. Wu Shui, the second best man in the Tyrannosaurus Rex base, evenly spoke. Ma Xiaoyu is definitely out of the game this time. Another group of generals, with an expression of anger but not words, seemed to be the people in the army who supported Ma Xiaoyu. But Ma Long had taken the lead in expressing his position, so what could they do? They could only sigh in despair. Ma Xiaoyu was so angry that she was speechless. Why should the empire be the most important? Why should she be sacrificed alone? What's more, she is one of the people who contributed the most to the base. It is true that when the rabbit dies, the running dogs are cooked and the birds are all gone, the good bows are hidden. Silver Wolf Legion, swear to protect the princess to the death. Just when everyone thought that the matter was settled, a sudden shout rang out. In an instant, it attracted everyone's attention. Oh my god! Who is this guy? When everyone saw a strange face, they were all stunned. Su Wei didn't care at all, and endured everyone's questioning eyes with a firm face. Flattery. At worst, both sides will die, but Ma Xiaoyu must not be allowed to fall at this time. Xiaoyu, is he the person you brought? Ma Long's face turned livid. A small wolf cavalry dared to openly resist the decision of him as an emperor. This is undoubtedly a great provocation. But at this time, Ma Xiaoyu did not respond at all. She was just staring at Su Wei with a complicated expression. Just now, when everyone was targeting her, she was about to give up. But Su Wei bravely stood up for her. Although she knew that Su Wei did this for himself, Ma Xiaoyu couldn't help but feel moved. Xiaoyu, Ma Long was even angrier. People kept disobeying his decision, which was really damnable. Father, he is Wu Yiming, the commander of the Silver Wolf Corps. Facing Ma Long's anger, Ma Xiaoyu calmed down and looked at him calmly. Nonsense, isn't the commander of the Silver Wolf Corps Zhang Zhao? Ma Teng jumped out immediately. Commander Zhang Zhao has died on the battlefield, so, Wu Yiming, must inherit the will of the former commander, swear to protect the princess to the death, never give up, Su Wei answered in a sonorous and powerful voice. He looked like a common man who was angry and blood was splattered 5 steps away. Ma Long and others had to think carefully. Su Wei's words made most people silent. Should he go with the flow in the change of power? Or should he fight for his ideals like Su Wei? Passion seems to be contagious. Several generals in the army couldn't help showing their eagerness to try. Because, in their eyes, Ma Xiaoyu was much stronger than Ma Teng. Humph. That's all for today. Seeing this, Ma Long stood up and left angrily. A group of people were left staring at each other in the hall. Finally, they parted unhappily. Although the Silver Wolf Corps was temporarily saved this time, there was not much time left for Ma Xiaoyu. If nothing unexpected happened, the distinguished guests who came 3 days later must be people from the Blood Fortress. The purpose of coming was naturally for Ma Xiaoyu. Thank you. Back at the Silver Wolf Palace, Ma Xiaoyu thanked Su Wei with a pious face. You're welcome. You know, helping you now is equivalent to helping myself. Su Wei smiled and shook his head. It was the first time he saw Ma Xiaoyu with such an expression. That being said, you did help me out, so, thank you is right, Ma Xiaoyu insisted. Okay, stop thanking me here, let's think about what to do next. Your father will definitely not give up. Besides, the distinguished guest in 3 days will probably have a lot to say. Su Wei quickly changed the subject. It would be awkward to continue like this. Humph. It must be the people from the Blood Fortress. They use the excuse of liking me, but their real goal is not the Tyrannosaurus Rex base. My father is courting disaster by negotiating cooperation with them. Ma Xiaoyu heard this and said angrily. Chapter 288, Early Action. I've heard you mention the Bloody Fortress several times. What is that place? Su Wei asked curiously. He didn't pay much attention to it before, but now it sounds like it is more powerful than the Tyrannosaurus Rex. The Bloody Fortress makes a living by manufacturing and selling weapons, but it is undeniable that it is very powerful. Not only itself, but also many bases that have interests related to it have united together. So, strictly speaking, the Bloody Fortress is not a single base, but an organization similar to an alliance. The leader of the organization calls himself the Bloody Fortress, Ma Xiaoyu explained. Since the Bloody Fortress's sphere of influence is not in Jinquan City, the survivors here don't know much about them. Ma Xiaoyu also knew something about it because the Tyrannosaurus Rex had contact with the Bloody Fortress. Arms dealer, Su Wei was stunned when he heard this. This is to meet a colleague. I guess so. Do you regret it? Ma Xiaoyu said a little depressed. The Bloody Fortress is still covered with a mysterious veil, which makes people unable to see clearly and understand, so it is feared. However, now that she was on Su Wei's boat, she was determined to go all the way. How is that possible, let alone a Bloody Fortress? Even if all the survivor bases were added together, they couldn't stop me, Su Wei said with great confidence. What he had were 2 worlds. A man who was determined to trample the world under his feet. How could he be frightened by a small Bloody Fortress? Boss. Your charm is really everywhere. What if one day, someone falls hopelessly in love with you? Su Wei's domineering attitude made Ma Xiaoyu obsessed at don't be obsessed with me, I'm just a legend. Su Wei looked up at the sky at a 45-degree angle and said with a melancholy face. There should be a long, sad BGM at this moment. Pa, you ruined the good atmosphere, boss. Don't blame me for not reminding you, you're the one who suffered. Ma Xiaoyu couldn't help but roll her eyes at Su Wei. I have a way to bring the plan forward, but are you sure you can beat Wu Shui? You saw it today. He's improved a bit more than before, Ma Xiaoyu asked back. No problem, brother has a magic weapon. Su Wei smiled mysteriously. What magic weapon? Ma Xiao asked curiously. Su Wei always brings surprises to people. I wonder what it will be this time? Well, keep it a secret. Su Wei kept it a secret. Forget it. Ma Xiao rolled her eyes at Su Wei. How do you bring the plan forward? Su Wei asked directly. Tonight, I will invite Wu Shui to the Silver Wolf Palace. You are responsible for defeating him, and it would be best if you can kill him. A trace of murderous intent flashed in Ma Xiao's eyes. So direct. Besides, if you invite him, he will come. Su Wei was stunned. This was too rude. Don't worry, he will definitely come, and I can guarantee that he will come alone. Ma Xiao didn't know where she got the confidence from, and patted her chest to guarantee. Okay. As long as he dares to come alone, I'll make sure he never comes back. Su Wei didn't ask for details, since it didn't matter to him anyway. But you have to inform your people to be prepared. Once we take down Wu Shui, we may have to force him to abdicate, Ma Xiao said with a hint of loneliness. In the end, he took the path he least wanted to choose. No problem, I'll be back soon. With that, Su Wei left the Silver Wolf Palace. With the help of the Phantom, Su Wei left the city very smoothly. Then he came to the ruins where the special forces were hiding. Boss, seeing Su Wei coming in, Wu Nan was the first to come out of the hiding place. Are all the people there? Su Wei asked hurriedly. The moment he entered, he closed the Phantom and revealed his true face. Dongzi has already brought people into the city. What's wrong, boss? Wu Nan replied hurriedly. Oh, this kid is quite fast. Just right. The plan should be advanced. You guys should act quickly too. Su Wei nodded. So fast, but how can we bring these 100 sets of power armor into the city? Wu Nan was stunned. According to the previous plan, Ma Xiao would arrange channels to quietly transport 100 special forces into the city. But now time is so tight, how can they make it in time? It's okay, let the brothers put the power armor here, and I will find a way to transport it into the city. You split up into small groups and sneak into the city before sunset, then, meet up at the marked point and get the equipment, Su Wei said without worry. Yes, boss, Wu Nan agreed immediately. With a boss's guarantee, it was not something she needed to worry about. The 100 special forces immediately took off their power armor, changed into civilian clothes, disguised as various survivors, and quietly left the ruins. Mixed in with the merchants coming and going, they entered the Tyrannosaurus Rex base. After Su Wei and others left, he waved his hand and put the 100 sets of power armor into the storage space. Then he returned to the base. Find a courtyard in the alley behind the palace and rent it. Next, just wait. Because he had left special marks along the way. Soon, Su Xiaodong, Wu Nan and the special forces came to the door one after another. When they saw a room full of power armor, they were all shocked. How long has it been? The boss actually brought in 100 sets of power armor. Really, it's awesome, Crass. Without saying much, everyone found their own equipment and put it on. The members of the reconnaissance team dispersed with the courtyard as the center point and kept alert. Su Xiaodong followed Su Wei towards the Silver Wolf Palace. Chapter 289 Old Pervert. Wu Yiming, why did you come back just now? The guests have been here for a long time. As soon as he entered the door, he saw Ma Xiaolin walking around anxiously. Oh my god, old man, are you so anxious? Su Wei looked up at the sky and could still see a ray of light. At most, it was just the time when the lights were on. I didn't expect Wu Sidon to come so early. That old pervert has been harboring evil intentions towards me for a long time. This time he thought I was forced into a desperate situation. Of course he can't wait for me to ask him for help. Ma Xiaolin spoke at trump card as soon as she opened her mouth. Old pervert, Su Wei and Su Xiaodong were stunned. Oh my god, there is so much information in this. Did they say that Wu Shui is Ma Long's sworn brother? Others treat him as a brother, but he wants to be someone else's son-in-law. Oh, stop talking so much, go quickly, I'm afraid my sister can't stand it anymore. Seeing that the two still had time to gossip here, Ma Xiaolin hurriedly said. Don't panic, here it is, later, you go in first and find a way to get the princess to drink this stuff. As he said that, Su Wei gave Ma Xiaolin a bottle of transparent potion as clear as water. Su Xiaodong and Ma Xiaolin looked at Su Wei in confusion. Oh my god, what kind of magic operation is this? Are you sure you are right? This is for Ma Xiao, not for Wu Sidon? How can someone drug his own people? What are you looking at? Why don't you go quickly? Don't you want to save your princess? Su Wei saw Ma Xiaolin still standing there in a daze, and immediately urged her in return. Okay, then when will you act? Ma Xiaolin gritted her teeth, stomped her feet and prepared to go, but before leaving, she couldn't help asking. When you complete your task, Su Wei answered with a confident look. They are in the other courtyard. After Ma Xiaolin said this, she ran towards the other courtyard. This time she was out for a little longer. I don't know what's going on in the house now. Boss, what should we do? A 6-star revolver might make some big moves. Should we call the brothers to clear the area? Su Xiaodong asked worriedly. A 6-star revolver is already considered an expert among experts. Although the boss has also reached level 6 and has a higher qualification, he is a newcomer after all. I wonder if he will suffer a loss if he fights with an old 6-star revolver. No need, the mountain man has his own tricks, Su Wei said as he took out another bottle of transparent potion, unscrewed the lid and drank it. Oh my god. Taking drugs again? Su Xiaodong was stunned again. He suddenly found that the boss had changed and became more wretched. He took drugs when he disagreed with something. Speaking of the other courtyard, Ma Xiaoyu and Wu Sidong sat at the table opposite each other. There were a few simple side dishes and a large plate of meat on the table, which exuded a few wisps of meat aroma. This is already very good for the wasteland. What's more rare is that there is a bottle of old wine next to it. The wine poured out was scarlet and mellow, and it was obvious that it was a good thing. However, Wu Sidong was not interested in it, and drank from his own wine pot. Princess, have you thought it through? Wu Sidong stared at Ma Xiaoyu opposite with a pair of phoenix eyes, full of smugness. Although the morning's event was ruined by a Silver Wolf Legion leader. But Ma Long also showed a firm attitude, which was enough to let Ma Xiaoyu know that time was running out. So, in this case, it was reasonable for her to find him privately. Thinking of this, Wu Shidong's eyes became bolder. Uncle Wu, it can be said that you watched Ma Teng and I grow up together. Don't you think your conditions are too much? Ma Xiaoyu frowned slightly, and her eyes could not hide the shame and anger. By the way, why hasn't Su Wei come yet? Will he fail at the critical moment? She didn't expect Wu Shidong to be so anxious and actually kept the appointment in advance. It caught her off guard. Too much? No. Xiaoyu, do you know? I have liked you since childhood. Do you know why I haven't married yet? That's because I'm waiting for you to grow up. What do you think? I'm loyal enough, right? Wu Sidong stared at Ma Xiaoyu's graceful figure without any cover-up, looking her up and down. Humph, Ma Xiaoyu couldn't help but snorted coldly. You didn't say you haven't married yet, but no one dared to marry you, okay? You are good at eating, drinking, whoring and gambling. After becoming an evolver, you have arranged more than a dozen women for yourself. If this is called loyal, even dogs won't eat shit. Xiaoyu, I just play with other women, but I really miss you. Don't worry, as long as you obey me, I will fully support you and help you ascend the throne. Wu Sidong became more and more excited as he spoke, and couldn't help but reach out to grab Ma Xiaoyu's little hand. If he took Ma Xiaoyu down, it would be like getting half of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. If he had another child, he would be the new emperor in the future. Wouldn't he become the Emperor Emeritus? So happy. Don't worry, how can I believe that you won't burn your bridges? Ma Xiaoyu dodged in a hurry. Such harassment has become more and more frequent. She couldn't help but feel anxious in her heart. She was afraid that this old pervert would use force. Look at what you said, as long as you follow me, aren't we a family? Since we are a family, who else can I help if I don't help you? Wu Sidong said as he wanted to stand up and move to Ma Xiaoyu's side. Sister, the water you asked for is here. At this moment, Ma Xiaolang suddenly rushed in. He was holding a glass with a transparent and colorless liquid in it. Humph, Wu Sidong sat back down with an unhappy look on his face. Tonight, Ma Xiaolang had been tossing back and forth several times, and each time it was a critical moment, which made him very annoyed. Sister, drink it while it's hot. Sober up. Ma Xiaolang took the opportunity to hand over the cup and pinched Ma Xiaoyu's palm. Before, Ma Xiaoyu was forced by Wu Sidong to drink a few glasses of red wine. At this moment, her face was flushed, which was very attractive. Ma Xiaoyu was immediately happy because she knew Su Wei had returned. She quickly took the cup and drank the water in the cup in one gulp to hide the joy in her eyes. She didn't notice the slight sweetness in it, and didn't notice that there was a subtle change in her body. Gradually, she even forgot to breathe, and there was no discomfort. Princess, you invited me here today, But this is too insincere. Whatever, just treat it as my own wish. Goodbye, Wu Shideng said with an unhappy face, and stood up and prepared to leave. Anyway, she came to ask for it, and she had waited for so many years. So there was no rush at this moment. Don't, Uncle Wu, let's continue talking. Ma Xiao hurriedly stopped him. As she spoke, she smiled at him. HMPH, if you want to talk, please show some sincerity, Princess. Wu Shideng's eyes lit up, but he still insisted. Of course, Xiaolin, don't come in again without my summons. Ma Xiaoyu immediately expressed her opinion. Oh, I see, sister. Ma Xiaolin walked out with a disappointed look on her face. When the door closed behind her, Wu Shideng showed a satisfied smile. Chapter 290 Sleepyhead. Did the princess drink? How is the situation? Ma Xiaolin walked out of the courtyard and saw Su Wei standing at the door. Drank, the situation is okay for now, but I feel that my sister can't hold on any longer. Hey, what are you doing? Ma Xiaolin asked curiously. Su Xiaodong had disappeared, and Su Wei had changed a lot at this moment. He was wearing a chef's suit and a chef's hat on his head. There was a small food delivery cart beside him, with a large plate on the cart and a bright big pot cover on it. Although you can't see what's inside, there is a strong fragrance that makes people salivate. Deliver a snack to the princess. Su Wei had a lewd smile on his face. You poisoned it? Ma Xiaolin immediately thought. No wonder he wanted to give Ma Xiaoyu medicine just now. Was it an antidote? No, that old pervert is very vigilant and only drinks the wine he brought with him. Your trick won't work. Before Su Wei could answer, Ma Xiaolin directly denied it. No poison, but I have other plans. Su Wei shook his head, then said mysteriously. Ma Xiaolin was choked and speechless. Learn from this, okay? Watch how I perform, Su Wei said as he stretched out his hand and waved it across his face, and suddenly he became a different ordinary person. Then, he pushed the small food cart inside. Ma Xiaolin couldn't help but catch up a few steps and watched from a distance. Su Wei walked through the yard and came to the door. He didn't knock on the door, but pushed it open and walked in. Creak-crack, there was a faint sound of glass breaking and the sound of the door opening, but no one noticed it. Did you say you wouldn't come? Wu Shideng raised his hand, but stopped awkwardly in the air, looking at the door with an angry face, but he was slightly stunned. Originally thought that Ma Xiaolin had returned, but who knew that a man dressed as a chef came, and he was pushing a food delivery cart. Although he shut his mouth, a hint of murderous intent flashed in Wu Shideng's eyes. Princess, the main course is here, Su Wei said to Ma Xiaoyu with his head down. Then send it over. Ma Xiaoyu's worried heart finally settled down. Her intuition told her that Su Wei was here. Yes, Su Wei immediately pushed the small dining cart to the table. He opened the lid of the pot swiftly. A strong aroma of roast duck immediately filled the whole room. No one noticed that there were 2 broken glass tubes on the carpet at Su Wei's feet. Uncle Wu, this is a rare charcoal roast duck, it's specially arranged for you. Ma Xiaoyu smiled at Wu Shideng again. The murderous intent that had arisen in him faded a lot. Thank you, Princess, it's just that I was full before I came. Facing the fragrant roast duck, Wu Shideng held back his saliva and said lightly. That's such a pity, I like roast duck the most, Ma Xiaoyu said as she picked up a piece of roast duck sliced by Su Wei, took a bite, and immediately had an expression of enjoyment on her face. This posture made Wu Shideng stunned. For the first time, he discovered that a woman could be so beautiful when eating. The idea of driving Su Wei out was also suppressed. Since she likes to eat, then satisfy her small request. Anyway, it only takes 3 to 5 minutes to slice a duck. It won't take much time. Wu Shideng thought so and waited quietly. He has enough patience for prey. But, my god. This roast duck is too fragrant. He couldn't help but drink 2 more sips to suppress the surging saliva. Next, Ma Xiaoyu enjoyed the delicious roast duck by herself, and Su Wei also sliced the roast duck by himself. The room was so quiet that only Ma Xiaoyu's chewing sound was left. It turned into a large-scale beauty eating live in seconds. Soon, the duck was sliced, and Wu Shideng thought Su Wei was going to leave. But the result was unexpected. Su Wei not only did not leave, but snatched the last piece of duck from Ma Xiaoyu's chopsticks with his hand and stuffed it into his mouth. If you don't punish him for 3 days, he will tear down the roof. Damn it, don't you see that I'm working hard to slice the duck, and I don't know how many pieces to leave? Su Wei's coquettish operation not only shocked Wu Shideng, but also surprised Masayu. But she soon felt relieved. It was obvious that Su-wei had already been fully confident, otherwise he would not have made such an extraordinary move. "Princess, your servant is so unreasonable, let me teach him a lesson for you." Wu Shiden stared at Su-wei with a sullen face, and murderous intent surged wildly. He dared to snatch food from the mouth of the woman he liked. He was simply impatient to live. "Whatever, but the premise is that you have the ability." Masayu gave Su-wei a charming look. This boss is really too skinny. Every time, she couldn't guess his trump card. Until now, she didn't know what Su-wei was up to. Seeing Masayu's expression, Wu Shiden realized that something was wrong no matter how stupid he was. "You are you?" Gulp. Unfortunately, it was too late. Wu Shiden fell asleep on the table before he finished talking. This is a first-generation powerful medicine prepared by Old Man Qin based on the hypnotic gas of the black fox. Although it is not as colorless and odorless as the black fox, the effect is great. As long as the dosage is enough, it is not a problem to sleep a 5S level super mutant beast. So it was named by Su-wei, Sleepyhead. A must-have medicine for insomnia. Let's learn about it. Under the cover of the smell of roast duck, Wu Shiden didn't realize that he had inhaled the hypnotic gas for 5 minutes. If he didn't fall asleep, who would? As for Su-wei and Masayu, they had drunk the kind of medicine that could suspend breathing in advance, so they would naturally not be affected. What happened to him? Masayu on the side jumped up in shock. How could this man fall down so suddenly? No big deal, he just fell asleep, Su-wei said with a relaxed look. "Ah. Just fell asleep." Masayu's voice dropped 2 degrees invisibly, as if she was afraid of waking up Wu Shiden. "Don't worry, even if you kill him now, he won't wake up." Su-wei found a toothpick and picked his teeth. The duck was roasted a little old. "Really?" Masayu was surprised. What was so powerful that it could make a 6-star strongman fall into deep sleep? "Of course, if you don't believe me, you can try it," Su-wei said, picked up a red wine glass and took a sip. It tasted good. "Hey, why is there something red on the rim of the glass?" Greek letter sigma, Su-wei quickly and quietly put the cup back. Fortunately, Masayu's attention was all on Wu Shiden at this time, and she did not notice Su-wei's abnormal behavior. Puff. Suddenly, a stream of bloody red blood flew over, and Su-wei was so scared that he quickly dodged. That's why he was not sprayed. When he looked up, he was stunned. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 291, Lust is a Knife Above Your Head. Did you really kill him? Su-wei looked at Masayu in shock. She had an alloy knife in her hand. With a flick of her hand, she instantly cut off the head of the sleeping Wu Shiden. Scarlet blood gushed out uncontrollably. This was probably the most unjust death of a 6-star evolver, who didn't even know how he died. Looking at Masayu with an excited face, Su-wei suddenly felt a chill. Could this be the legendary, a knife over the head of the word lust? Awesome. Why not kill him, keep him for the new year? Masayu's face flushed. I don't know if it was because of the effect of alcohol or the joy of revenge, but she looked extremely excited. That's right, Su-wei could only nod in agreement. In fact, Wu Shiden is more valuable to keep than to kill him. It's just that Masayu has had enough of this guy, so she just killed him. So, this story tells us, don't offend women, especially beautiful and capable women. Oh, by the way, boss, you haven't told me yet, how did you do it? Masayu looked at Su-wei charmingly. The secret cannot be revealed. Su-wei shrugged his shoulders and turned to open the doors and windows. There's still sleepyhead potion in here. At this time, Masayu came to the dining car, and 2 broken glass tubes fell on the place where Su-wei just stood. Is it a potion? No, he didn't eat or drink anything after coming here. How did he get poisoned? Masayu asked in horror. From beginning to end, she didn't find out how Su-wei poisoned him. But he needs to breathe, doesn't he? Su-wei turned his back to Masayu and felt a cool breeze blowing in from the window. Then why am I fine? Masayu understood immediately, but a new question came up. Do you need to breathe now? Su-wei asked back without turning back. At this time, Masayu realized that she had forgotten to breathe without knowing when. and she felt pretty good. The glass of water that Mazayalan brought to her at the end suddenly appeared in her mind, and it seemed to have a special taste. "Is this also a potion? How magical," Mazayalan said with admiration. "In the wasteland, I am afraid that only the Phaeton base would make these seemingly useless special potions. Hurry up and take care of the funeral, the sky will change soon," Su Wei said and walked out. As he walked, he took off the chef's clothes and hat, revealing the armor of the wolf cavalry. At the same time, his face flashed, and he turned into Wu Yiming, the leader of the Silver Wolf Legion in a second. This made Mazayalan, who rushed over when she saw the door open, confused. What's going on? But when she turned her eyes and looked into the room, she was stunned. Wu Shuai's hut fell not far from the door, with a peaceful face, as if he was asleep. When she looked up again, Mazayalan was holding an alloy sword, standing in front of a headless corpse, with scarlet blood still dripping from the blade. "Sister, how did you do it?" Mazayalan felt like she was going crazy. There was no sound of fighting, and a 6-star revolver had his head chopped off. "Isn't this too horrifying?" "Don't ask me, because I don't know either." Mazayalan threw the alloy sword to Mazayalan. Then she walked out of the room. "Remember to clean up, then notify the Silver Wolf Corps, assemble." After saying that, Mazayalan's figure had disappeared outside the courtyard. Mazayalan was confused, and she cleaned up the room with a look of resentment on her face. A quarter of an hour later, the Silver Wolf Corps assembled, and like a silver lightning, rushed out of the Silver Wolf Palace and headed straight for the back wall of the palace. When Su Wei and the others arrived at the designated location, Wu Nan had already led the special forces to assemble there. It was Su Ziyadong who left the Silver Wolf Palace first and came to inform them. Seeing the 100 uniform sets of power armor, Mazayalan couldn't help being shocked. "This boss is so scary." "Boss. The personnel have been assembled, please give instructions," Wu Nan trotted over and said to Su Wei. "Begin the action, quick battle and quick decision." Su Wei waved his hand and said, "Yes, boss." Wu Nan immediately returned to the team and conveyed the order. Buzz, the unique sound of the power armor sounded, and 100 Special Forces members immediately rushed towards the wall of the backyard of the palace. This time Su Wei did not participate in the battle, but followed behind with Mazayalan and the Silver Wolf Corps. Zilla. Soon, dozens of electric currents lit up in the darkness, flying like silver snakes towards the palace guards on the top of the city. At this time, the high-frequency electric shock guns of the power armor instantly shocked the palace guards to death. These outer guards were just ordinary people, how could they resist? Some Special Forces members activated the flight mode, flew to the top of the city, and quickly controlled this section of the city wall. Below, there were Special Forces members going to install bombs on the city wall. Boom. After a few breaths, the bomb exploded, and a hole in the ground and a mountain were far away. The flames dissipated, and a gap was directly blown out of the tall city wall. "Silver Wolf Army, charge!" Mazayalan was so excited that she shouted and led the way to the gap. "I'll go." This little girl is not only cruel, but also has a bad temper, Su Wei couldn't help but complain in his heart. Then he rushed up. Although the road created by the explosion was rugged and bumpy, it was no problem for the mutant wolf. After a few moves, he rushed into the palace. At this time, the whole palace was boiling. A large number of guards shouted and rushed over here. It must be said that Ma Long attaches great importance to his own safety. There are no less than 1,000 guards in the palace. The reaction was also very fast. A black mass swarmed towards the accident site. Unfortunately, they encountered Special Forces wearing power armor, and the consequences can be imagined. Use high-frequency electric shock guns on ordinary people. Use laser guns when encountering enhancers and others. Use ferocious chainsaw swords when encountering close combat. There is also an improved new alloy armor with outrageous defensive capabilities. With such powerful equipment, it is not a problem to fight 1 against 100, let alone 1 against 10. Add the Silver Wolf Legion. Suddenly, they were unstoppable and soon killed under the tower. What's going on outside? Ma Long, who was having fun with his son in the hall, was surprised. The loud noise just now seemed to be an explosion, right? And the distance was very close, as if it happened in the palace. But how is this possible? Who dares to make trouble on his territory? So, Ma Long was stunned for a while before he reacted and asked loudly. And his beloved son was still there flirting with a maid and drinking happily. "Great king, it's the Silver Wolf Legion," The Silver Wolf Legion has broken in. At this time, a guard ran in, rolling and crawling. Chapter 292, Music and Dance. What? Say it again. Malone was shocked. How could this be possible? It has only been a short time since the explosion. Are the palace guards made of paper? Or are the Silver Wolf Corps gods from heaven? My king, the Silver Wolf Corps is coming in. They are about to come in. The guard looked terrified. He saw with his own eyes that several guards were sawed in half by chainswords. The bloody and brutal aura made him collapse. You bastard, you are talking nonsense. Malone grabbed the guard's neck and broke his neck with a click. The guard kicked his legs and died, but he could not escape the shadow of death in the end. This shows that the name of Tyrannosaurus is well deserved. My king, he is right, the Silver Wolf Corps has already reached the bottom of the tower. At this time, Li Jinshan, the leader of the Tyrannosaurus Corps, rushed in. What? Seeing Li Jinshan's solemn expression, Malong immediately believed it. He threw the body of the guard aside in annoyance and walked quickly to the balcony. At this time, the sound of killing outside the tower was deafening. In the flickering firelight, a team of soldiers in power armor were killing people everywhere. Even the reinforcers were no match for these steel torrents. There were also gray-white shadows flashing across the battlefield, rushing the guards to pieces. One of the silver-white shadows was the strongest among them, shooting straight at him like a sword. Silver Shadow, Malong was very familiar with this white shadow. My king, what should we do now? Li Jinshan followed behind and asked hurriedly. Who can tell me where those power armor soldiers came from? Malong's face was full of anger, and a pair of eyes burst into a ferocious light. Looking around, there were more than 100 power armor soldiers. How did so many weapons enter the city? Are those guards blind? And those who were responsible for monitoring the Silver Wolf Palace, are they all dead? Malong really guessed this correctly. The moment Ma Xiaoyu prepared to take action, she cut off those spies. In fact, she knew that she was being monitored for a long time, but she didn't want to alert the enemy, so she didn't care about those spies. I don't know, my king, but it must be related to the eldest princess, Li Jinshan replied with embarrassment. He was only responsible for the security of the high tower in the palace. Humph, don't think you can do anything to me with this ability. Send a signal to Wu Shui and ask him to come to the high tower quickly. Malong tore off his clothes, revealing a strong tendon, shining with a greasy light under the light. Yes, my king, Li Jinshan replied immediately. Call the Tyrannosaurus Rex Legion and prepare for battle, Malong said as he walked, and patches of blue-black scaly substances began to appear on his skin. Yes, king, Li Jinshan rushed out quickly. Asshole, the enemy has already attacked. Why are you still drinking here? Passing by Ma Teng, Malong saw that he was still drinking as if nothing had happened, and he was immediately annoyed and kicked the table over. The maids and dancers fled in panic. Dad, aren't you here? Why should I care? Come on, continue playing music, continue dancing. Ma Teng seemed to be a little drunk, and said to his father with drunken eyes, not realizing the seriousness of the matter at all. Bang! Malong was furious, and slapped his son Ma Teng in the face with such force that he knocked him off the chair and onto the floor, and two big teeth flew out of his mouth. Oh, Ma Teng sobered up instantly, and looked at his father Malong, who had turned into half-beast, in horror, looking at a loss. Why don't you quickly gather your tiger core and go out with me to fight the enemy? Malong was almost mad to death. He claimed to be a great hero, but how could he give birth to such a useless thing? Oh, yes, yes, yes. Ma Teng quickly got up from the ground, covered his cheeks, and ran out. My king, the Tyrannosaurus Corps has been assembled. At this time, Li Jinshan went and came back. Soon, Malong brought Li Jinshan to the bottom of the tower. 100 Tyrannosaurus Corps stood neatly in the lobby on the first floor. Heavy armor, sharp spears, and a shield in the shape of a Tyrannosaurus Rex's open mouth, mighty and domineering. Kill! No mercy, Malong shouted loudly while looking at the Tyrannosaurus Corps he had built with all his heart. At the same time, a bloodthirsty killing breath burst out from his body. Kill! 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 The Tyrannosaurus Corps immediately burst out with a crazy killing breath. Under the leadership of Malong, the Tyrannosaurus Corps rushed out of the tower like a tiger out of a cage and collided with a first wave of mechanical armored soldiers. Both sides are elite, and a fierce battle broke out as soon as they touched. The Tyrannosaurus Rex wore heavy zinc alloy armor. Although the work was not as fine as the power armor, the defense was equally amazing. and even the laser gun could not penetrate it at once. Fortunately, the power armor has a power assist system, which is much more maneuverable and faster. However, the Tyrannosaurus Rex is not a purely retro equipment. The dragon head shield in its hand can spit out flames from the open dragon mouth. Simply put, the function of a flamethrower is added to the shield. In this way, not only can a large number of ordinary enemies be killed, but also the flame can be used to interfere with the enemy's vision, so that the soldiers of the Tyrannosaurus Rex have enough time to approach the enemy and kill them. In addition, the alloy spears in their hands are top-grade equipment forged by special technology. The new metal alloy is used as the main body, and an ion oscillation beam generator is added to the tip of the spear. After it is turned on, it has the ability of ion cutting. Simply put, it is tried a long handle to the plasma cutting dagger. However, the sharpness is so sharp that even the heavy armor of the Tyrannosaurus Rex cannot completely defend it. The person who can develop such a weapon is definitely a genius. In fact, this inspiration comes from the early weapons used by humans to fight zombies, long poles and daggers. It's just that the ion shock beam generator is in short supply now, so this equipment is only used by the Tyrannosaurus Rex. As soon as Ma Long came up, he blew up a power armor soldier with one punch. The heavy armor was as brittle as paper under Ma Long's mutated claws. Ma Long, don't be so arrogant, 8 Extremes shock. At this time, a voice fell from the sky, bringing with it a sharp energy, pressing towards Ma Long. Ma Long looked up and saw the new Silver Wolf Corps leader Wu Yiming falling from midair and punching Huang Long. Humph, just you. Ma Long looked disdainful and punched him. Boom. The two fists collided. Like a nuclear explosion, and the violent energy instantly cleared a large area around. Whether it was the super soldier or the Tyrannosaurus Rex soldier, they were all pushed away. Chapter 293 Silly. Who are you? After the ki dissipated, Ma Long looked at Su Wei, who was on the opposite side with a shocked face. The punch just now was so powerful that he almost couldn't resist it. Although he was a little hasty to meet the enemy, his dragon scales, which he always claimed to be indestructible, actually cracked. The tingling feeling invaded his nerves, telling him the indisputable fact. Silver Wolf Army Commander Wu Yiming. King, what? You forgot so quickly? You are too forgetful. Su Wei shook his numb arms and teased with a smile. Impossible, with your ability, you can't be just a small army commander. What conditions does Ma Xiao give you? I can give you 10 times, as long as you don't interfere tonight. What do you think about our affairs? Ma Long suddenly said to Su Wei. I refuse. Su Wei shook his head without thinking. Why? Ma Long was stunned. 10 times the reward. And as long as he doesn't interfere. What is this guy thinking? Because you are too ugly, how can a beautiful woman be pleasing to the eye? Su Wei looked at Ma Long and said, with an expression that said, don't blame me for being too straightforward, you, humph, there are many women. As long as you agree, I can give you 100, and all of them are good, young and beautiful, with white skin and long legs. Ma Long's eyes flashed with anger, but he endured it abnormally. Oh my god, you can't have played with all of them, you are a bad old man. Su Wei had a look of disgust on his face. Father, are you waiting for Wu Zidong? I brought him to you. At this time, Ma Xiao rode over on Silver Shadow. As he spoke, he threw a cloth bag to Ma Long, and the cloth spread in the air, revealing the contents, which was Wu Zidong's head. His face was peaceful, as if he was asleep. This time, not only Ma Long was shocked, but even the surrounding Tyrannosaurus Rex army and the Imperial City Guards were deeply shocked. Morale instantly plummeted. Although they had a large number of people, they were suppressed by the super soldiers and wolf cavalry. Ma Xiao, what are you going to do? Do you still have me as your father? Ma Long was shocked. Wu Zidong was actually dead, and he died at the hands of Ma Xiao. Then tonight was dangerous. But as a father, a man who claimed to be a king, how could he show his cowardice? He asked Ma Xiao fiercely. He tried to use the usual father's intimidation to make Ma Xiao timid. As long as she was scared, things would turn around. Father, times have changed. I think you are old and can't see the situation clearly. So, leave the Tyrannosaurus Rex base to me. Don't worry, I won't treat you unfairly. Ma Xiao said with a firm face, without a trace of awe for Ma Long. Strictly speaking, there was a trace of disgust. Because the only mother who loved her was indirectly killed by the man in front of her, and she didn't live a good day until her death. HMPH. Ma Xiao, you are too naive. Ma Long said as he suddenly rushed forward, his beast transformation fully activated, his dragon scales swelled, his bones twisted, his eyes turned into vertical pupils, and except for the outline that remained human, he looked like an enlarged lizard. I am the king, I am the master. Seeing that the claws were about to reach Ma Xiaoyu, Ma Long shouted from his throat, but the sound became creepy, like the roar of a beast. Ma Xiaoyu seemed not to see the claws flashing with a cold light, and a meaningful smile appeared on her face. Buzz! Suddenly, a light blue light shield appeared in front of Ma Xiaoyu. It was the force field shield launched by Sui. HMPH, Ma Long snorted coldly, and tore the blue light shield into pieces with one grab, and continued to grab Ma Xiaoyu without changing his momentum. But at this time, Ma Xiaoyu's figure had disappeared. She had been taken to the side by Sui. You fool, why don't you hide? Sui was furious. This little girl always wanted to make trouble. I know you will save me. Ma Xiaoyu smiled like a blooming flower. I'll go. Whether you can save me or not is different from whether you can save me. I really admire you. Sui was shocked. What if he can't make it in time? I believe you can. Ma Xiaoyu was unmoved. You, go cool off. Sui left Ma Xiaoyu unhappily and went to fight the completely perverted Ma Long. Relying on his hard scales and sharp claws, Ma Long launched a fierce attack on Sui. Now he saw that Sui was Ma Xiaoyu's biggest support. As long as he was eliminated, Ma Xiaoyu would not be a concern. But, is it that easy? The answer is of course no. Cannon hammer. Sui defeated Ma Long's offensive with one punch. The sharp claws could not get any good in front of the grip of death. Ma Long was so angry that he roared repeatedly, but unfortunately, his voice was loud and could not change the reality. Father, I'll help you. At this moment, Ma Teng's voice came. He rushed over with Wang Qi and others and the tiger caller. Xiaolin. Stop them, Ma Xiaoyu shouted to Ma Xiaolin. She would never allow anyone to mess up. Yes, Ma Xiaolin immediately led the Silver Wolf Corps to meet the enemy. On the main battlefield, only the super soldiers and the Tyrannosaurus Corps were left fighting, and the battle was difficult to resolve. However, with the withdrawal of the Wolf Cavalry, the Tyrannosaurus Corps had no chance to rise. In the battle, the Tyrannosaurus Corps was always suppressed by the super soldiers. After all, the weapons and equipment, and the level of the Tyrannosaurus Corps could not be compared with the super soldiers. The only thing worth relying on was the spear in their hands, which could cause damage to the super soldiers. However, the power armor is equipped with a rich weapons system, and it does not necessarily have to be close combat. High-frequency electric shock guns are a good choice. Although it cannot cause damage, metal armor conducts electricity. When these heavy armors were forged, the problem of high-voltage electric shock was not considered at all, so after being hit by high-frequency electric shock guns, it will fall into a short-term paralysis state. Either they were harvested by snipers, or they were directly killed by the super soldiers who rushed up with chainsaw swords inserted into the gaps in the armor. In their own home court, they were beaten to pieces by Phaeton super soldiers and pressed to the ground. At this time, the Imperial Guards were even more frightened and dared only to hide in the distance and shoot coldly. Unfortunately, their weapons are basically ineffective against power armor, and they will soon be killed by snipers among the super soldiers. This is even more frightening. Watching the Tyrannosaurus Corps fall one by one, Li Jinshan was furious, but Wu Nan's speed was notoriously fast, and with Su Xiaodong's coercion, he had no time to go to the core and organize effective resistance. When the two sides were in a stalemate, Sui's side had already decided the winner. Ma Long was hit in the chest by Sui's punch and vomited blood. As his strength was lost, Ma Long gradually returned to his human body. At this moment, he fell to the ground, his face pale, his skin torn, and his eyes full of endless resentment. Chapter 294 Ending. Ma Long fell to the ground and couldn't get up. Ma Xiaoyu immediately sent someone to capture him. The former Tyrannosaurus Rex king has now become a miserable prisoner. My king, Li Jinshan was furious and anxious when he saw Ma Long's defeat. He forgot that this was a battlefield and there were two opponents who were not weaker than him. With this distraction, Su Xiaodong immediately found an opportunity and stabbed Li Jinshan's carotid artery with a knife. Without waiting for Li Jinshan to struggle to death, Wu Nan rushed over and kicked him away. Bang! With a loud bang, Li Jinshan's tall body fell like a meteor in the camp of the Tyrannosaurus Rex Legion. The entire battlefield seemed to have pressed the pause button. Everyone's heart was on the verge of collapse. Let me go, Let me go. I'll let my father kill you all." At this time, Ma Xiaolin led people to escort Ma Teng, who was tied up. The Tiger Legion led by Wang Qi behind him chased after them, but they were afraid to act rashly. The super soldiers took the opportunity to form a circle and protect Su Wei and others in the middle. In this way, the party with the least number of people took the initiative. "Ma Teng, you'd better see the situation clearly before you speak, otherwise, don't blame me for teaching you a lesson," Ma Xiao's sharp voice sounded. At this time, Ma Teng saw the miserable appearance of his father Ma Long, and was immediately frightened, and his face turned pale, and his legs trembled like sieves. The godlike father was actually defeated. The shouting voice in his mouth also stopped abruptly. Humph! Seeing his son frightened into such a cowardly look by a word, the seriously injured Ma Long couldn't help but snorted coldly. He once doubted in his heart whether such a cowardly son was his own. It's really a hopeless case. "Father, what else do you have to say now?" After Ma Xiao calmed Ma Teng, he turned his head and looked at Ma Long, who looked unwilling. Now the Tyrannosaurus Rex base has no leader, and Ma Xiao, who has taken the initiative, has the best hope of becoming the next king. Ma Xiao, do you think you won? I'll tell you, you lost from the beginning." Ma Long laughed abnormally. This made Ma Xiao very unhappy, and her pretty face suddenly became cold as ice. Dad, if the eldest sister wants the base, just give it to her. There's no need to do this, there's really no need to do this." Ma Teng was almost crying watching from the side. As the saying goes, when you are under the eaves, you have to bow your head. His family spoiled him since he was a child, but Ma Xiao really knew how to deal with him. Although she would be punished by Ma Long later, she spared no effort every time, so it left a big shadow on Ma Teng's childhood. "Asshole, shut up, you don't deserve to be my son, Ma Long," Ma Long roared and interrupted Ma Teng's words. Because he used too much force, he pulled the wound, and blood flowed down the corner of his mouth, which looked particularly hideous. Ma Teng was frightened and hurriedly shut up, but he still muttered in his heart, Yes, you are amazing, you have the ability." "Humph, Ma Xiao, now that things have come to this, I am not afraid to tell you, you are not our daughter at all, you are just a baby girl that my wife kidnapped from a rich businessman's home. Originally, a huge ransom was required. But unfortunately your family was reluctant to spend the money and chose to call the police. We took you and fled to another city. Originally, we wanted to sell you, but I don't know what was wrong with that woman's brain. She actually said she would support you. The mother you have always been grateful to is the one who caused your tragic fate." Isn't that ridiculous?" Ma Long's voice was filled with morbid joy. He knew that he had failed miserably, but he would never let Ma Xiao have an easy life. He wanted to reveal the secret that had been hidden for more than 20 years and let Ma Xiao live in pain forever. "What did you say?" As expected, Ma Xiao's heart was immediately disturbed. No matter who it was, it would be impossible to remain calm when encountering such a thing. "Are you deaf? I said that your mother, who you have always been grateful to, is the one who caused your tragic fate." Ma Long saw Ma Xiao's painful expression, and the smile on his face became even thicker. He shouted at her. Yes, that's it. Pain is the best torture instrument, which can drive people crazy." "You are talking nonsense," Ma Xiao roared. You know whether I am talking nonsense or not, I didn't force you to be a member of my Ma family. It's all that stinky woman. If you want to blame someone, just blame her. That's right, you can't find her either. She must have turned into a zombie, or she has been dead for who knows how many years." Ma Long looked at the painful Ma Xiao and laughed heartily. "Shut up." Ma Xiao rushed up like the wind, raised her hand and stabbed Ma Long's heart with a knife. "Ah, sister, oh my god, no one expected that Ma Xiao would be so impulsive, and she would kill right away." Poof. Ma Long spat out a mouthful of blood and stared at Ma Xiao in a daze, as if he had not expected her to be so direct. "This knife, I'm giving it back to you on behalf of my mother." Ma Xiao's voice was chilling, and the ice in her eyes was even more chilling. Ma Teng was so scared that he peed his pants. Well, you are worthy of being raised by me, old Ma, you are so ruthless, just like me. Unfortunately, you won't be proud for long. The people from the Blood Fortress are coming. You said I can't see the situation clearly. But I want to tell you, it's you who can't see the situation clearly. There is nothing that the Blood Fortress wants that it can't get. You just wait and see. After trying his best to say this, Ma Long took his last breath. But his face was filled with a weird smile, which made people feel cold on their backs. Ma Xiaoyu watched Ma Long take his last breath coldly, then pulled out the alloy sword and turned to look around at the people in the Tyrannosaurus Rex base. Those who obey me will prosper, those who disobey me will perish. The cold voice and the bloody alloy sword instantly made Ma Xiaoyu's figure look extremely tall, as if she was a killer from hell. I surrender, I surrender. Ma Teng was the first to kneel down. His father, whom he relied on, was stabbed with a knife, so how could he still be tough? We are willing to support the eldest princess as the new king. We are willing to support the eldest princess as the new king. Someone took the lead, which immediately caused a chain reaction. Anyway, Ma Long was dead, and it was not unacceptable for Ma Xiaoyu, as the second most popular master in the Tyrannosaurus Rex base, to be the king. What's more, there was also this team of mysterious and terrifying power-armored soldiers. Who knew what tricks Ma Xiaoyu had? For a time, the calls for Ma Xiaoyu were overwhelming. A sudden war came to an end. Chapter 295. It's over. Alice, Su Wei, who saw everything, sighed secretly. Ma Xiaoyu's behavior made him feel a little uncomfortable, but he had to admit that she was right. Only in this way could the Tyrannosaurus Rex base be firmly controlled by her. But Su Wei always felt that the joy of victory was a little dull. After lending the super soldier to Ma Xiaoyu, he took Su Xiaodong and others back to the Silver Wolf Palace to rest. This night was destined to be bloody. The change of the ruler of a large base can be said to be a serious injury. Fortunately, the Tyrannosaurus Rex base implemented a monarchy. Ma Xiaoyu took down the power center with thunderous means, and at the same time gained the support of part of the army, and became a veritable new king. Even if there were voices of opposition, they would be covered by the wave of killing. Unfortunately, there were almost no voices of opposition. Ma Long was dead, and Ma Teng was also abolished. What's the use of opposing it? Everything was so logical. However, what was unexpected was that the first thing Ma Xiaoyu did after taking office was not to appease the various departments, but to announce the name change. Change the Tyrannosaurus Rex base to Longhu Base. And announce that in the future, Longhu Base will be a vassal of Phaeton Base. As soon as this news came out, it immediately set off an uproar. It is rumored that Phaeton Base is just a small and medium-sized settlement. How can it make Tyrannosaurus Rex, a large base, surrender? In front of the new throne, everyone quarreled. Some people even openly raised objections. Only a few people shut their mouths and looked at the team of power-armored soldiers guarding behind the queen, thinking. The result is imaginable. Ma Xiaoyu once again used iron-blooded means and directly killed several of the most cheerful ones. The voices of opposition disappeared at once. She just wanted people to know that the queen's will is unstoppable. The next thing is much simpler. Except for the change of name, everything remains the same. After dawn, Tyrannosaurus Rex. Oh no, Longhu Base returned to its former tranquility. Even the blood-stained ground in the palace was wiped clean. It seems that nothing has changed. But it seems that everything has changed. In the morning, Su Wei was eating breakfast while listening to Su Xiaodong's report. He talked about some things that happened after he left last night, including the name change of the base. Breakfast was the standard marching meal of the Phaeton base, which was self-heating. It was not delicious, but it was definitely not unpalatable. Su Wei paid more attention to these things, so the living conditions of the Phaeton were so superior. Long Wei, hearing that the first thing Ma Xiaoyu did when he came on stage was to change the name, Su Wei couldn't help but be slightly stunned. What is this? Show loyalty? Boss, what should we do next? After the report, Su Xiaodong asked. The matter here is over, let's get ready to go home. Su Wei swallowed a last bite of food and said with a relaxed look. I thought it would take some time, but I didn't expect Ma Long to be so anxious and force himself into a dead end. This is good. Boss, you are so cruel. At this moment, Ma Xiaoyu's resentful voice came from outside the house. With a voice, Ma Xiaoyu, dressed in a gorgeous dress, walked in. Although it is also leather armor, this one is more gorgeous and sexy, highlighting Ma Xiaoyu's graceful figure. With a crown on her head, she is simply beautiful to the sky. Queen. A true queen. How can you talk like that? If you don't know, you would think I did something to you. Su Wei was uncomfortable with Ma Xiaoyu's resentment and quickly retorted. Isn't it, boss? When you're done, you just pat your butt and leave. Stay. I'm a little girl, alone, lonely and frightened in this place surrounded by wolves. Isn't it cruel? Ma Xiaoyu said, and sat down next to Su Wei. A strong fragrance immediately hid her nose. Puff, ahem, Su Wei sprayed out the soup he had just drunk. Oh my god. What do you mean when you're done, just pat your butt and leave? It seems like that's the truth. Don't I want to save face? Su Xiaodong wanted to laugh but didn't dare to, and his face turned red. Boss, even if I'm right, you don't have to be so excited. Ma Xiaoyu quickly took out her handkerchief, helped wipe her mouth, and helped massage her back, looking extremely concerned. But her eyes were smiling like crescent moons, and her cherry mouth couldn't help but grin, revealing a mouthful of white teeth like broken jade. Ma Xiaoyu, if you talk like this again, don't blame me for being rude. Su Wei stood up in a bit of humiliation. Yes, boss. Ma Xiaoyu quickly restrained her smile and stood up with a serious face. Alice, these 100 super soldiers, including Captain Wu, will be temporarily lent to you to stabilize the situation here. In addition, I will support you with a batch of supplies to calm people's hearts. Su Wei looked at Ma Xiaoyu, whose eyes were dark, red, and tired, and couldn't help but soften his heart, sighed and said, "Thank you, boss." Hearing Su Wei say this, Ma Xiaoyu suddenly turned from sadness to joy, and a charming smile appeared on her face again. The boss is indeed kind-hearted despite his ugly face. Okay, go and rest first. You can cope with everything only when you are well rested, Su Wei continued. Yes, boss. Ma Xiaoyu looked at Su Wei again before turning away. Boss, when are we leaving? After Ma Xiaoyu left, Su Xiaodong asked in a low voice. Leave in the afternoon. Su Wei looked at the sunlight outside the house and said casually. Yes, boss. I'll prepare it right away, Su Xiaodong said and walked out. Before leaving, Su Wei ran to the ruins where he had hidden at the beginning, threw out a pile of supplies and hid them. These were all stored up in the past. After the Phaeton achieved self-sufficiency, they had been piled up in the storage space, and now they could be used as idle items. Then he told Ma Xiaoyu about this and asked her to send someone to move them. Su Xiaodong's reconnaissance team left half of the people to Wunan, who would act as scouts and also facilitate the establishment of contact with the Phaeton base. That afternoon, Su Wei took Su Xiaodong and others and quietly left Longhu base. After leaving Longhu base, Su Wei and others no longer had to hide their identities. They rode the mutant wolves prepared by Ma Xiaoyu, traveled day and night, and finally rushed back to Phaeton base 2 days later in the morning. Everyone was naturally very happy about the news of the great victory. This not only reduced an enemy, but also increased the population by tens of thousands. The next step is how to develop. In addition, Phaeton's recruitment plan was successfully completed. Since then, within a radius of 100 kilometers, it has all been Phaeton's sphere of influence, and there has been no dissenting voice. The population has also successfully exceeded 10,000, reaching more than 12,000 people. It has injected strong momentum into the development of the base. Chapter 296, Resurgence. After staying at the Phaeton base for a day and dealing with related matters, Su Wei left alone. After entering the wilderness, he returned to the modern world. This time he was gone for more than 10 days, and the messages on his phone were about to explode. After Su Wei took a cold shower, he lay on the sofa to read the messages. Fortunately, most of them were messages of concern and greetings. Su Wei replied uniformly. There were also some matters of Ziwei group, and he replied one by one. When checking the missed calls, an extra long number caught Su Wei's attention. Because it was a satellite phone number, if I remember correctly, it should be Cadman's special contact number for Paro. The date showed 2 days ago. Su Wei hurriedly called back. With artificial intelligence, his mobile phone can connect to the world and will not be detected. Hello, Paro, my good brother, you are finally online. As soon as the call was connected, Cadman's surprised voice came from it. Although the number was not displayed on the satellite phone, this phone was only for Paro, so he had no doubt that there was someone else. Mr. President Cadman, how are you these days? Su Wei quickly switched to Paro's state. No, I dare not call myself president in front of you, Alice good brother. To be honest, it's been very bad recently. Cadman was humble and immediately complained. Oh? What's the matter? Su Wei asked directly. The Red Sleeves army has begun to expand again. This time there are a large number of mercenaries participating in the war, and my people are fighting very hard, Cadman said helplessly. Meninia, the situation that had just stabilized, began to become turbulent again. The original plan was to go north and completely eliminate the Red Sleeves army after stabilization. But now a large number of mercenaries have joined the Red Sleeves army, which has caused Cadman's new government army a headache. Now, let alone eliminating the Red Sleeves army, even self-protection has become a problem. If it weren't for the weapons and equipment left by Suwei, I'm afraid the Red Sleeves army would have fought back to Mugaza. Despite this, it was still attacked several times. Fortunately, Sanjia escorted Cadman and saved him from danger. Who is the leader of the Red Sleeves army now? Suwei asked in a deep voice after listening to Cadman's story. This is obviously abnormal. The mercenaries who value money as their life are actually helping the already declining Red Sleeves army with all their strength. What is the purpose? Can the Red Sleeves army afford such a large reward? Halapi, he was originally a staff officer of Quetta. After the Red Sleeves army fled to the north, they elected him as the new leader, but this is not the point. According to intelligence, the person who is now in charge of the overall situation of the Red Sleeves army is a white-skinned man named Calusin. He used to be a mid-level commander of the U.S. Marine Corps. After retiring, he joined a mercenary group called Falcon. The Falcon mercenary group is active in various parts of Africa all year round. They are typical vultures. Wherever there are dead people, there are their figures. They exude the smell of rotting corpses, Cadman said with disgust. It was the appearance of these mercenaries that caused the fire of war to grow in the originally peaceful soil of Africa. Calusin? Marine Corps, Suwei frowned when he heard it. But think about it. The U.S.'s character is not surprising. Who knows whether it is a real retirement or a fake retirement? But no matter what, it has been fully demonstrated that the U.S.'s ambition for Maninia is not dead, and it wants to use the remnants of the Red Sleeves army to reignite the war. Because only in war can they take advantage of the chaos. Brother Paro. I'm not rushing you. How is the progress of the arsenal? Can some weapons and equipment be delivered in advance? We really can't stand it, Cadman asked a little embarrassedly. After all, it has been less than a month. Even if we are at full strength, there is only one framework at most. How can we produce and manufacture weapons and equipment? The weapons you ordered cannot be produced yet, but I have a new weapon that will definitely surprise them. Suwei smiled when he heard it. What is more suitable than the HX-1 power armor for the current situation? Originally, it was intended to be unveiled at the Global Weapons Exhibition at the end of the year, but now it seems that some people are impatient, so let's teach them a hard lesson. Let them know, sir, the times have changed. Really, Brother Paro, are you going to give me a surprise? Cadman was immediately happy when he heard that Suwei had a way. Because Paro had never let him down. Of course, you will know when the time comes. I will lead the team myself and completely wipe out the Red Sleeves army. Suwei's eyes flashed with a hint of coldness. Now that Maninia has become a modern base of his, how can he tolerate others getting involved? That's great. I can see Brother Paro showing his power again. Haha, when it was mentioned that Suwei was going to take action personally, Cadman couldn't help laughing. Last time, Suwei took action and killed Quetta and took down the Maninia regime. What about this time? It's really exciting. After agreeing on a time, Suwei hung up the phone. At this time, a strange number called in. Hello, who is this? Suwei picked up the phone. Hello, Suwei, it's me, Long Zhenai. A magnetic male voice came from the phone. Minister Long, Suwei was stunned. Why did this guy call him? Suwei, it's really not easy to find you. I've been in Huadu for 7 days. I called you every day, but you're not available. I asked Xiao and she didn't know where you were. Fortunately I tried again today, otherwise I would have missed you, Long Zhenai said with some resentment. Sorry, I have something special to deal with. Suwei couldn't help but smile bitterly. Don't blame you, it's also my fault for not making an appointment with you in advance. Are you free now? Let's meet and talk. Long Zhenai invited him quickly. Okay, where are you? I'll go find you, Suwei agreed readily. The other party obviously came to find him specially. No need, I'll let Fair pick you up. Where is the address? Long Zhenai said quickly. His identity is quite special, and the place he is in is naturally very sensitive. Okay. Jinxion community. She will know as soon as you say it, Suwei said. Okay, see you later. After saying that, the two hung up the phone. After Suwei replied to a few more messages, he got up, changed his clothes, and went out. After waiting at the gate of the community for about 10 minutes, A black car slowly stopped in front of him. The car window was lowered, revealing Shangwen Fair, with a delicate baby face. Su-wei, get in the car. Okay, with that, Su-wei sat in the passenger seat. The car slowly started. Chapter 297 Rejection. Su-wei, the private jet you wanted has been prepared. While waiting for the red light on the road, Shangwen Fair took out a stack of documents from the side and handed it to Su-wei. All three are ready, so fast. Su-wei was shocked. It has only been more than 10 days, and 3 private jets have been prepared. Yes, these 3 planes are customized by different wealthy people. I heard that you need them urgently, so Minister Long came forward to find someone to coordinate. I'll give it to you first, others, it's okay to wait a little longer, Shangwen Fair said casually. But this didn't sound like the case to Su-wei. Obviously, Long Zhenyu had something to ask of him. Otherwise, why would he go to such great lengths? Okay. Thank you, Su-wei didn't point it out. He took the information, flipped through it casually, and put it in his backpack. I don't know when, he has developed the good habit of carrying a bag with him, but the documents were not put in the bag, but directly put into the storage space. As they were talking, the car had already driven out of the city, and after driving a section of the national highway, it turned into a remote manor. After entering, Su-wei realized that the people inside were not ordinary people. Obviously, this was a branch of Hanlong in Huadu City. Haha, Su-wei, finally, I've been waiting for you. In a two-entry courtyard, Long Zhenyu personally came out and welcomed Su-wei into the house. Shangwen Fair turned and left. Minister Long, you are too polite. If you have something, just tell me on the phone. Why make it so grand? Su-wei said a little flattered. Not grand, not grand. You are a pillar of the country, so it should be like this. Long Zhenyu enthusiastically pulled Su-wei to sit down. There were already 4 exquisite dishes and a soup on the table, as well as several bottles of specially supplied Maote liquor. Come on, let's have a drink, Long Zhenyu said as he picked up a bottle. Okay, Su-wei didn't act pretentiously. It was just time for dinner, so he would eat it if he didn't. Long Zhenyu opened the bottle and poured a glass for himself and Su-wei. The rich aroma of wine immediately filled the whole room. Come on, drink first. Long Zhenyu raised the wine and toasted Su-wei. Yeah, good wine. After drinking it, Su-wei couldn't help but praise it. The taste is indeed different from the ones on the market. If you like it, bring 2 boxes back later. I heard that Mr. Su also likes to drink. If you like it, just ask, Long Zhenyu said. Thank you, but, Minister Long, if you have something to say, please say it first, otherwise, I will feel uneasy while eating, Su-wei asked straight to the point. Is the minister of this Hanlong Special Operations Department so free? He flew to Huadu City to find him for a drink and chat? Haha, it is indeed an unwelcome request. The embarrassment on Long Zhenyu's face flashed away, and he said with a smile. It explains what it means that as long as you don't feel embarrassed, it will be someone else's. Oh, tell me about it, Su-wei asked curiously. What did Long Zhenyu like? Su-wei, I sincerely want to invite you to join Hanlong. Long Zhenyu no longer hid it. After saying that, he looked at Su-wei expectantly. Su-wei was stunned for a moment, then shook his head with a wry smile. He guessed many possibilities. But he didn't guess that he would directly recruit people. Why? Long Zhenyu's face was full of disappointment. He didn't expect Su-wei to refuse so straightforwardly. Minister Long, I'm too busy now, so, I'm sorry to have failed your expectations, Su-wei refused directly. He has too many things to take care of now, and he doesn't want to find another troublesome job to make things more complicated for himself. Su-wei, isn't it okay to be honorary? Long Zhenyu made a final effort. Sorry, Su-wei still shook his head. No problem, although we can't work together, we are still partners. The supply of Jinchuang aerosol can't be cut off. Long Zhenyu was very disappointed, but he still respected Su-wei's decision and didn't persuade him too much. As Mr. Xia said, everything depends on Su-wei's opinion. Soon, Long Zhenyu adjusted his mentality and made a joke to Su-wei. Don't worry, Minister Long, there's enough. Su-wei also laughed when he heard it. It resolved the embarrassment between them just now. That's good. Let's go, then. The two chatted while eating and drinking. In a blink of an eye, 2 bottles were gone. Both of them are not ordinary people, and this amount is just for gargling. Su-wei, do you have a potion that can make people stronger? Long Zhenyu suddenly asked while drinking. Yes, Su Wei was stunned for a moment and nodded. Anyway, this matter can't be concealed, so it's better to admit it openly. Sure enough, when Long Zhenyu heard Su Wei admit it, he didn't look surprised. Can this be mass-produced? Long Zhenyu was more concerned about this question. I guess so, but the amount at one time is not too large. Moreover, there are high and low levels, and the higher the level, the less the output, Su Wei thought and answered. Level 1st to 6th strengthening potions are not so easy, the materials are relatively easy to obtain, but level 7 to 9 strengthening potions are not so easy. Especially the level 9 strengthening potion, which is the key to open the road of evolution and requires the spinal fluid of high-level mutant beasts. At present, the Phaeton base can only say that it is enough. Do you have specific data? Long Zhenyu asked hurriedly. Yes, this potion is called Strengthening Potion. After strengthening at levels 1-3, the strength corresponds to the early, middle and late stages of the bronze level. After strengthening at levels 4-6, the strength corresponds to the early, middle and late stages of the silver level. After strengthening at level 7-9, the strength corresponds to the early, middle and late stages of the gold level. After that, it depends on personal qualifications, Su Wei introduced briefly. This is the specific data he obtained through the situation of Chen Long and others. Of course, there are still certain individual differences, but it is almost the same. Gold level? Are there any restrictions on its use? Long Zhenyu suppressed his inner surprise and asked. Theoretically, no, as long as you are healthy, it's fine, Su Wei replied calmly. Hiss, Long Zhenyu couldn't help but take a breath of cold air. How abnormal is it to be able to reach the gold level by taking drugs? You know, there are only a few children from aristocratic families who study hard since childhood and can reach the gold level before the age of 20. After the age of 20, the speed of cultivation will be even slower. And it is basically impossible to have dazzling achievements. But Su Wei's potion can directly create a gold level. Even if it cannot be upgraded in the future, it can be regarded as a master with some achievements. If the grassroots warriors of Xianlong can reach the gold level, Long Zhenyu dares to pat his chest and guarantee that Xianlong will become the strongest on the surface. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 298 Backing. Minister Long, seeing the silent Long Zhenyu, Su Wei had to call him twice in a row to wake him up from his wandering state. Ahem, you're out of control, Su Wei, are you selling this? No matter how much it costs, I'll buy it, Long Zhenyu asked nervously, holding Su Wei's hand. The reason why Yonghan can suppress Xianlong is because the family's cultivation method can quickly make disciples take shape. But it is not 100% guaranteed that they are all gold. The core combat forces are still silver, but there are more than Xianlong, not to mention the gold level. Okay, for the sake of Minister Long, I can find a way to get some, Su Wei said with embarrassment. This thing, of course, can't be sold like cabbage. It should be like squeezing toothpaste, a steady stream of water, is the kingly way. What's the price? Long Zhenyu asked anxiously. How about this, I'll set the price by group. 1-3 level strengthening potions are 1 million yuan per group, 4-6 level strengthening potions are 10 million yuan per group, 7-9 level strengthening potions are 1 billion yuan per group. Su Wei opened his mouth and said, Deal. Long Zhenyu slapped the table directly. It seemed that Su Wei was asking for an exorbitant price, but for Long Zhenyu, it was really no big deal. After all, this thing can be bought with money. If you miss this opportunity, you will never have it again. Besides, to train a gold-level master, 1 billion may not be enough, let alone the success rate. Damn, you are so excited. Su Wei was startled by Long Zhenyu and bounced up like a spring. But he forgot to control his strength when he was excited. He smashed the table into pieces with one palm, and the wine, vegetables, and soup were all scattered on the floor. If Su Wei hadn't dodged quickly, he would have been splashed all over. Sorry, I'm too excited. Let's go to another table. The good atmosphere was ruined, and he had no interest in drinking anymore. Fortunately, he was about 60% full, so he went to the side hall to drink tea. Someone would come to clean up the mess. The tea here really means tea. The orderly brought in 2 large teacups, the kind made of white porcelain, with enough to fill you up. After drinking, he was really thirsty. Su-wei picked it up and drank half a cup in one gulp. It was so cool. Su-wei, how much can you get in the early stage? After Su-wei put down the teacup, Long Zhenyu couldn't wait to ask. There is no limit on the quantity of 1 to 3 levels, 500 groups at most for 4-6 levels, and 100 groups at most for 7-9 levels, Su-wei estimated and said. With this calculation, it is definitely over 100 billion. Great, let's start with 1000 sets of level 1-3. I'll take care of the rest, Long Zhenyu said with great pride. Apart from anything else, if we can produce 100 gold level and middle level ones in a short period of time, we can definitely crush the Eternal Palace. No problem, thank you for your patronage. By the way, Minister Long, I have the following 2 suggestions, I hope you can refer to them. First, the level 9 strengthening potion has a high probability of stimulating human potential and causing qualitative changes, so use it with caution. Remember, second, although the strengthening potion is good, it will also bring a disadvantage, that is, fertility will become more difficult as the strengthening level increases, Su-wei kindly reminded. Ah, fertility. Isn't it like, if you want to practice magic, you have to castrate yourself? Long Zhenyu's face changed drastically. If he had to pay such a high price, the strengthening potion would not be so attractive in an instant. At this moment, he even had the idea of returning the potion. I'm talking about fertility, not fertility. After the body becomes stronger, it will become difficult to give birth to offspring, but it's not impossible to give birth. Poison oil and tearing eggs, Su-wei was shocked. Maya. This is uneducated, so terrible. Even castration is done, do you think it's the sunflower manual? Oh, sloppy. This is not a big problem, and the older people will be given priority when the time comes. Hearing this, Long Zhenyu nodded quickly. Sure enough, becoming stronger has a price. After the matter was settled, the 2 chatted for a while, and Su-wei stood up to say goodbye. Long Zhenyu naturally sent him off enthusiastically for 18 miles. He sent him all the way to the gate. Before leaving, Long Zhenyu also told Su-wei something specifically. That is, Lei Lao has already spoken to all parties in the country, and Su-wei must not move lightly. In short, Su-wei is under my protection. The Lun family in Beijing was especially warned by Lei Lao. So, on the surface, they dared not make any moves. But Long Zhenyu still reminded Su-wei to be careful of the dark sword. After all, those hidden sects are all Jianghu green forests, and they cannot be judged by common sense. At the same time, Long Zhenyu also stated that no matter whether Su-wei joins or not, Zhanlong will be Su-wei's backer. As long as it does not violate the national morality, Su-wei can let it go and Zhanlong will bear all the consequences. Hearing this, Su-wei left with satisfaction. That's right. How can he serve the country if he always lets those villains do things behind his back? With a promise of Lei Lao and Zhanlong, he's equivalent to having the imperial sword and the gold medal of immunity from death. Whoever comes will die. After leaving the Zhanlong branch, Shangwen Fair still drove him back to Yunshujian. Fair, help me arrange a plane tomorrow. I have to go to Manania. In the car, Su-wei said to Shangwen Fair on the side. There is no way. In this regard, she is the most familiar with it. Those who are capable should do more work. Oh yes, Boss Su. Shangwen Fair couldn't help but roll his eyes at Su-wei. After all, she is the daughter of a noble family, born in Zhanlong, but why does it feel like she is getting lower and lower in status, and has fallen directly to the level of a driver and handyman? Life is unpredictable. Oh, I see you and Wayner have been stuck at the gold level for a long time, right? Looking at Shangwen Fair who looked lonely, Su-wei suddenly asked. More than a year, I practice every day, but there is no movement, it's so frustrating. Shangwen Fair couldn't help complaining. It was okay before, I was one of the best in this Hanlong base, so I wasn't too anxious. But since I came to Huidu City, people around me have been breaking through one by one, especially Chen Long and others, who were not as good as them before, but now they have surpassed them. Who can I go to for justice? What's more outrageous is that Xiaowei, an ordinary person, has reached the gold level without doing anything. Although 10 Xiaowei Slaker are not her opponents. She is definitely at the gold level. Who knows if she will become a diamond one day? while she is still standing still. Are you angry? Are you angry? Don't be impatient, more haste makes waste, Su Wei said calmly. This is a typical example of a full man not knowing the hunger of a hungry man. Humph, Shang Wenfei was immediately furious, snorted, and ignored this irritating guy. Others are quick to achieve success, but for me, haste makes waste. You are kidding me, don't be like this. Chapter 299 Lost. Here, when Shang Wenfei was sulking, Su Wei took out 2 level 9 strengthening potions and handed them over. What is this? Shang Wenfei was stunned. Level 9 strengthening potion, a good thing that can help you and Wayner break through, although the probability is not 100%, it can be up to 80 or 90, Su Wei said with a smile. How can it be justified not to give some hard work fees when people are busy running around? Shang Wenfei seemed to be afraid that Su Wei would go back on his word. She quickly grabbed the potion with both hands and held it in her arms. Countless little stars flashed in her 2 big eyes. The probability of 80 or 90% is already scary high. Okay. Car, Su Wei was startled. Sister, you are the one driving the car. Is it appropriate to let go of your hands at this time? Shang Wenfei hurriedly reached out to grab the steering wheel, but her other hand tightly grasped the level 9 strengthening potion and refused to let go. All for you, no one will snatch it away, let's drive carefully, okay, Su Wei said with a wry smile. Okay, sit tight, Shang Wenfei stepped on the accelerator, and the car drove like a sports car. Soon it rushed back to Yunshujian No. 1 courtyard. Without even entering the gate, she left Su Wei on the side of the road, then stepped on the accelerator and sped away. Fuck, Su Wei had no choice but to walk in by himself. At this time, the phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. Su Wei answered it. Hello, are you Su Wei? A deep male voice came from the phone. Who are you? Su Wei asked curiously, and it sounded unfriendly. I am Liu Tingshan, Liu Bowen's father, the male voice on the phone said directly. Liu Bowen? Who is it? Su Wei asked subconsciously. Liu Tingshan on the other end of the phone was almost vomiting blood in anger. What kind of person is this? Oh. I remember now, you're the trainee assistant of Helen International Asia Pacific, Su Wei said with a smile. Humph, Su Wei, stop playing crazy, where is my son? Liu Tingshan asked angrily. For more than 10 days, not only was there no news about his son, but Su Wei seemed to have disappeared from the face of the earth. In addition to Daksha's protection measures, he couldn't even find someone to ask. Just now, he had the mentality of giving it a try, but he didn't expect that the phone call that had been out of service for more than 10 days actually got through. The moment the call was connected, he couldn't help but feel extremely fortunate. But then, Su Wei's words made him so angry that he was fuming. He immediately lost the demeanor and patience that a gentleman should have. At this moment, he just wanted to know where his son was. Where is your son? Your son? You ask me? What happened? Is he lost? Su Wei had a smile on his face, but his tone of voice was full of surprise. Su Wei, let's be frank. My son came to Daksha and only had a grudge against you. Besides, you were in the Magic City when the incident happened. You said, if I don't ask you, who should I ask? Liu Tingshan's voice was full of anger. He hadn't been so angry for many years. Today, Su Wei successfully ignited the anger in his heart. Oh, my God, there are tens of thousands of floating population in the Magic City every day. Why don't you ask them? Besides, your son is missing, it's none of my business. In vain, Su Wei was about to hang up the phone. Such people should not be indulged. Sure enough, the lower beam is crooked because the upper beam is crooked. Wait, Su Wei, I swear I will make you regret it, Liu Tingshan said with venom. If they met at this moment, he would want to kill Su Wei with his own hands. Oh, interesting, I want to listen carefully. How do you want me to regret it? After hearing this, Su Wei was not in a hurry to hang up. HMPH. Su Wei, don't think you can do whatever you want just because you have Zonlong protecting you. You are nothing in front of capital. Just wait for your company to go bankrupt, your relatives to die tragically, and then you will be hunted down endlessly. Also, a friendly reminder, it's useless even if you hide in Daksha. As long as the chips are enough, you can sell your life on the world's largest killer website, Shadow Demon. At that time, countless desperate people will come to you to claim your life. Liu Tingshan vented his inner anger wantonly. For him, he would rather kill the wrong person than let him go, not to mention that Su Wei contradicted him like that. Little did he know what kind of existence he had offended. Liu Tingxian, 48 years old, American nationality, serves as the Secretary General of the Feely Consortium. Su Wei read out a piece of information in a cold voice. This is the information he searched with artificial intelligence. HMPH, what? Are you scared? Liu Tingxian was slightly stunned, and then said viciously. You are this Liu Tingxian, right? Su Wei asked regardless. So what if it is? Liu Tingxian shouted coldly. It's okay as long as it's right. Congratulations, you will soon experience the pain of the company going bankrupt, the tragic death of your family, and then being hunted endlessly. Su Wei's cold voice carried a hint of murderous intent. He dared to threaten his family, so he must be killed. Ho, this is the funniest joke I've ever heard in my life. It's a pity that you don't go to a talk show. Liu Tingxian was so angry that he laughed. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, but he had never been threatened like this. If you think this is a talk show, then enjoy it. Friendly reminder, there is not much time left for your entertainment. Beep. Su Wei hung up the phone after he finished speaking. During the call, the artificial intelligence was not idle. It not only located Liu Tingxian's position, but also hacked into the U.S. National Security Agency and retrieved the information of their family members. Unfortunately, Liu Tingxian has already returned to the United States. Otherwise, he would disappear from the world tonight. However, someone will come to the door soon. How he. Su Wei let the artificial intelligence enter the dark web and found the world's largest assassin organization, Shadow Demon. Sure enough, the price was clearly marked. As long as enough money was paid, those desperate people would go crazy. Unfortunately, they met Su Wei. Without saying a word, he hacked Shadow Demon's service. After freezing all the tasks, he posted a task to kill Liu Tingxian's family. From the family's pillars to the pet dogs, including Liu Bowen, all living things with a Liu family's mark were clearly marked, and the price was not low. Humph, you are richer than me. You are afraid of being eaten. At this moment, the dark web world was boiling. Someone actually hacked the website of Shadow Demon, the world's #1 assassin organization, and forced the assassination mission to be posted. What's more outrageous is that a huge amount of bonuses were injected into the bonus pool at the first time. As long as you complete the task and submit the relevant certification materials, you can get a huge bonus immediately. In an instant, the killer world became restless. But more people were skeptical. After all, the bonus was too high, and it felt unreal. Chapter 300, Trapped in a Cocoon. Quickly check who it is. The Shadow Demon Killer organization was in chaos in an instant, and the leader shouted at his subordinates in a rage. The killer website was hacked, and more than 10 minutes had passed. But the top hackers in the organization were helpless and could only watch the other party do whatever they wanted on the website. Decades of accumulated resources were squandered. If this continues, Shadow Demon will be finished. Unfortunately, they are facing artificial intelligence and have no power to fight back. They can only watch Shadow Demon's website being controlled by the other party. They keep issuing assassination missions to kill Liu Tingxian's family. If they knew that this unprovoked disaster was entirely because Liu Tingxian was a bit mean and reported their names to Su Wei, I wonder if the leader would be so angry that he would cut Liu Tingxian into pieces. In a study in a luxurious manor in Los Angeles, USA, Liu Tingxian stood there with a red face, panting heavily. Just now, Su Wei hung up on him, making him so angry that he smashed the phone in his hand. It took Liu Tingxian 5 minutes to suppress the anger in his chest. Butler! Liu Tingxian, who had calmed down, suddenly shouted loudly. Hello, sir, how can I help you? A white-skinned man in his 50s came over. He was wearing an exquisite black suit, which was bright and decent. Go, issue a task to Shadow Demon, $100 million, a reward for the lives of Su Wei and his entire family in Daxia. Liu Tingxian tore off his tie, but the anger in his chest still could not be vented. Sir, this, immediately, right now. Oops. The butler wanted to persuade him, but was directly scolded by Liu Tingxian. In desperation, the butler had to step forward and came to the computer in the study to start operating. A few minutes later, he logged into Shadow Demon's website. But today's website is a little special. The task release button is gray and cannot be clicked. Only the task collection button is normal. But only the top dozens of tasks can be claimed, and the rest have turned gray, indicating that they cannot be claimed. Looking more carefully, the housekeeper was immediately frightened and pale. Mr. Xiangxin, You'd better come and take a look first. The housekeeper swallowed several times before speaking with difficulty. What are you doing? Fuck you. Liu Tingshan, who is already angry, saw the housekeeper's look and became even more annoyed. He walked to the computer in a few steps. Are you going to tell me that the killer is closed today? This joke is not funny at all. Looking at the normal display of the Shadow Demon website, Liu Tingshan looked at the housekeeper with a gloomy face and said, Sir, the website's task publishing system has been frozen, and the task board is full of tasks to kill you and your family. The housekeeper was already sweating profusely. Because on the task list, he saw his name and avatar. What? Liu Tingshan was stunned for a moment, then he pushed the housekeeper away, and looked at the computer screen in disbelief. This, Liu Tingshan was stunned. Almost all of the assassination missions on the list were him and his family, and the total prize money reached an extremely terrifying 100 billion yuan. Dozens of family members, each of them is an average of several billion yuan. This is enough to make those desperate criminals crazy. Looking at the time of the mission release, it was just 20 minutes ago. Could it be Su Wei? Liu Tingshan was shocked by his own thoughts. The maximum valuation of Ziwei Group is only 100 billion yuan. Where does he get so much money to hire a killer? And judging from the situation, the killer website has directly opened a special service for him. Isn't this a scam? It's the rhythm of killing everyone. Sir, is this a hacker's prank? The housekeeper on the side couldn't help but guess. Huh? Makes sense. Contact Shadow Demon Agency immediately and find out what's going on. Liu Tingshan suddenly realized. That's right. Why didn't he think of it? How could a killer website provide special services? And how could Su Wei take out 100 billion yuan? Soon, the housekeeper called the killer's intermediary and got a reply soon. Someone hacked the Shadow Demon's website and posted the assassination mission privately. Hearing this, Liu Tingshan and the housekeeper couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Bang! But at this moment, a gunshot was heard outside the manor. Then there was a commotion. What happened? Liu Tingshan's heart sank. He was most impressed by the temptation of money. Even if it was a hacker's prank, there was no guarantee that the killer would believe it. Sir, let me ask first. The housekeeper quickly took out the intercom in the manor and asked. Soon, a security guard reported with a confused face. It turned out that a guard dog was shot by several gun-wielding thugs. That's not all. Several people carried the dog's body and ran away, and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Not good. Liu Tingshan and the housekeeper couldn't help but feel depressed. If there is a first person who dares to take the risk, there will be a second and a third. Now, the only thing they can hope for is that the hacker can't pay. Then this farce will end. Soon, the two found the taskbar of the watchdog, which showed a reward of 1 million yuan. This is just a watchdog. Is it necessary to be so high? Liu Tingshan couldn't help but complain in his heart. The two stared at the screen nervously, hoping that the next second, Shadow Demon would be able to take back control of the website. At the same time, Su Wei received a request to submit the task of assassinating the watchdog. A video recorded the entire assassination process. Su Wei didn't even think about it, and he issued the bonus, and also pinned the issuance record. Regardless of whether it is true or not, the first person to take the risk must be encouraged, otherwise how can he inspire future generations? Ling. Mission accomplished. A reward of 1 million yuan was issued. With a system prompt, it was posted on the headlines. The entire assassin world went crazy. Rush to Los Angeles, USA at all costs. Ling. Mission accomplished. Reward of 1 million yuan will be issued. The system prompts, making Liu Tingshan and the housekeeper look ashen. It's over. Whether there is really 100 billion or not, the Luochang Liu family will suffer a devastating disaster. With 1 million yuan, the Luochang Liu family was destroyed. This Su Wei is really terrible. Until now, Liu Tingshan still doesn't believe that Su Wei can take out 100 billion at will. But now it is not a question of 100 billion. It is a question of life and death for him, Liu Tingshan. Bang bang bang. But before Liu Tingshan can react, the first wave of killers arrived. A terrifying number of gunshots rang out outside the manor. This is just the first wave, there will be a second wave, and the third wave will not stop until death. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone, see you in the next video.